Hello, everybody, and happy Monday. So we are going to start the way we normally do, which is with tenants. Let me open this stuff up. Hey, Chef Alton. Oh, let's just copy paste the whole, this. Yeah, I don't think there's anything alarming from last week that I remember. You know, one of the things that, oh, wait, what am I doing? Sorry, hang on a second. Let me focus on this for just a sec. One of the things that I've realized is I need to make time for certain to-do lists. Like I have a personal to-do list. And then we have all these ones for Skeleseller, like translations, controller, whatever, content, marketing. Having the to-do list is a good first step, but then obviously you need to spend some time actually tackling items from it. And at least for my personal stuff, I was just like, man, when is this stuff going to get done? So I started working on that a little bit more this weekend. And yeah, I've got a lot of Skeleseller stuff to do too. Hey, Codeverse, welcome in. So with Skeleseller, at least, we're probably at about 100 days remaining until launch. I haven't set a date yet, and I really need to. Yeah, days are numbered. That's the point. So sustainability, let's look at the last week and see what happened here. So localization, yeah, I think it went pretty well. I'm feeling enthusiastic about starting this work week. So that's a good sign. Hey, Xylytics. Adam tackles to do live. ATTL. Okay. Kind of the same as the week before, which is that I was doing localization and, well, I was doing the most important things. Localization and controller support. Yeah. Yeah, I'm relatively confident in the process, even if I'm not so confident in the amount of time we have remaining before launch. Okay, that's it. I don't want to spend too much more time on that. I just want to make sure nothing's like going off the rails here. Honestly, the biggest thing, and I've mentioned this every single week, has been sustainability in terms of, can I keep doing game dev for years to come? And there are some times when I feel a little bit overwhelmed, and it's generally whenever there's a rabbit hole for this game that will affect every other game in the future. So as an example, localization. You don't have to localize your game. You could just launch in one locale or one language. So you certainly don't have to. But if you're going to, then you could reasonably expect to have to do this for every single game you make. And again, there are two parts of this. There's sort of the infrastructure part and the translation part. And yeah, the translation part will probably never get any easier for anyone unless they end up speaking all the languages they release in. But the infrastructure part gets easier. So some of this stuff, it's like, all right, it was overwhelming this time, but maybe it won't be as overwhelming next time. The other thing too is we're trying to do translations on a budget. So we're starting with AI and then doing human editing. In the future, we might not have a budget and might just spend the $15,000 or whatever it is to just do human translations from the get-go. I don't want to spend $10,000 to $15,000 now. I set the budget for $500. So I'd be going like 30 times that just for translations. But yeah, in the future, that could get easier as well too. So yeah, anyway, it is what it is. All right, so controller support. Let's fix maybe a little bit of these things like this one, Spirit Snakebite. This was never supposed to be translated and somehow got translated. Don't we have the cat, what's it called? Cat dodge increase? Yeah, this is set to not translated. This should be too. Man, I don't know how that happened. There's also Spirit Dog power increase. That's fine. And then Spirit Fairy heal. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, so somehow just this one shouldn't have been translated and was. I wonder if there's a way to find these. I don't think so. Because it's in the active abilities folder, which includes ones that should be translated. So it's not like you can just check based on folder. You'd have to know that this never shows up in the UI. I guess you could check all the ability IDs and see which ones are adventurer ones. You thought about adding houses to the town as it grows? I don't know if you have any housing graphics already, but could add a little something extra to the land as the town grows. Yeah, there was an idea a long time ago about customer housing, and it might cause them to do something different as you upgrade it. And then there was the idea of as you upgrade your town, you naturally just get more cosmetic things, like maybe more flowers grow. there's still ideas, and I think a lot of what this next 100 days will come down to is what do we have time to do. So does the game need it? No, I don't think so. So we're going to tackle the necessary stuff first, and then eventually we will get to a polish phase where we're not going to base it on what does the game need. We're just going to base it on how do we make it better. But with that said, housing I think is going to be probably a big enough change where we won't do it. But it's not that I dislike the idea. All right, so stop translating spirit snake bite. This string never shows for players, so we shouldn't burden translators with translating it. Doesn't really have to do with the branch we're on, but it came up and I wanted to fix it. All right, so we're just going to check that. Wow, I did not mean to click that. There we go. Anything else? This is done. Oh, yeah, Jitspo. How do I find that? Maybe I can just search for Jitspo. I can't remember what the URL was. Hang on, I know how I can find it though. Give me a sec. Oh my God, stupid Google Calendar. Ah, here it is. Okay, so this URL, my hard set on the idea of the 100 days for yourself to commit to a date. I haven't committed yet, but I am relatively hard set on it for a couple reasons. One, before the Botland launch, I kept saying the game isn't ready to be seen until X happens. And X would happen, and then I'd move the goalposts. And this happened for a very long time. So that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that at some point we kind of need to start showing whether this game is going to make money or not. So let's say I held off for housing. I might be like, okay, well, there were these other ideas that I wanted to do too. We want, I don't know, for you to be able to name customers or Twitch integration or anything like that. And it's like, none of these things are going to elevate the game to, 4x the sales it would have had. It might make a player a little bit happier as they're playing. Maybe it's slightly better for them to leave more of a chance for them to leave a positive review, which could snowball into more sales or something. But in general, I think this is a slippery slope of, yeah, we'll just do that thing. And then we're like, okay, well, now we'll go do this other thing and this other thing. So yeah, at some point I just want to launch. Also, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of support for the game. Suppose we release V1 and sales are good. And then we say like, oh, V1.1 customer housing, and it's some new system we can do. It's like, okay, that could be fine. I'm still going to be doing some dev work even after the game is launched. Unless it just totally dies. Anyway, okay, so I want to make a jitspo command. Yeah, so acom jitspo. Jitspo, a fellow game dev and streamer, is hosting an indie game trailer event this Saturday. I should probably add a little bit more details about it, huh? Developers could submit 15-second trailers, and he'll be showing all of them at once, pausing for, yeah. I think he's got enough games on here now, and he talked about this being like, I don't know, an hour and a half of content. If we just count the commas, where's the number of selections? Huh, used to say at the bottom. That's weird. Okay, well, I guess we can just do that. Yeah, so 300 times 15 divided by 60. Don't need to do the math on that, but I don't know why I did it anyway. Yeah, 75 minutes. So the total time should be about 1.5 hours. Due to pausing / commentary. Maybe 2 hours even. Okay. I think the biggest thing is polish, as you've said. There's the other side of that 100-day limit to where you launch too soon before polish feels good. First impressions mean a lot to people. I think based on the demo, things feel kind of good enough. At least that's what I'm treating it as. And I think sometimes this is hard to gauge, because I think if we were to like really fully go all in on polish, we'd probably spend many months doing it, and we'd probably add like 100 shaders to the game, and we'd probably do, yeah, just a lot of like little small touches, some graphical changes. We have one piece of the UI that I'm still not super happy with that we might change, but I just don't want to make the same mistakes I made with Botland, and one of them is like holding off on launch for a really long time. Maybe almost every game could use another like 6 months in the oven, even when it's about to be released. Even like Slay the Spire 2 just got another 6 months in the oven. But if they'd launched, they probably would have had killer sales, and people probably still would have been happy, and they still would have changed the game over time. Hey, Phil. So yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough. Does that make me the controller? I'm the controller. Yes, Rami. And hi. Hi. Yeah, it's very tough. I think if I'd never released a game before this, that I would have said, let me spend a little bit longer on this. Hey, Vargas. Okay, so I want to look through this code. What do we have here? This we're not doing. This is code from Friday that we made, and I need to figure out what's going on with this. This, I guess, isn't needed anymore. It should highlight yellow, and it hasn't. Well, I know better than it does. You prefer controllers or mouse and keyboard for games? It depends on the game. So if I were playing like Smash Bros, definitely controller. If I'm playing an FPS, mouse and keyboard. If I'm playing something like, it's a game that could use either one. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just depends on the game. I probably, if a game supports both, probably have a preference for mouse and keyboard. And for coding, oh, definitely piano. Got to code on a piano. All right, ready was called. What do we have here? About to pop up. This didn't help. Ooh, what is going on with that code? That's not good. Okay, maybe I should not do this in this buffer. All right, let's go take a look at it over here. I once used a banana and a knife to play a game. Did you actually? Because I was going to say people have all sorts of wacky controllers now, such that that might have sounded like a total joke a long time ago. Yeah, you did. How? How did you do that? Okay, so that code I need to clean up. And what is this code doing exactly? It's just allowing you to control the setting thing? Yeah, okay. So that I got to clean up. And then this is, we do keep track of the starting viewport, don't we? I wonder if there's a way to get this. There's got to be. I should probably take a look at that. By the way, Vargas, do try to pay heed to the segmenting rule in chat. Unfortunately, it's not even, I guess on YouTube there's more of a problem. But yeah, try not to send multiple small messages. Hey, I'm Kibara. Wait, so Rami, can you explain more what happened that caused you to use a banana and a knife? All right, I want all of this to be here. We don't even use any of this as far as I know. Oh, the reparenting does happen. And then we reparent it back to this. I don't like this. I definitely don't like this. This is not needed. What's this for now? Is embedded. We don't do anything there. I don't even think we use the embedded Boolean anymore, do we? No. Okay, we're going to clean all of this up. What if I refuse to elaborate now? I agree with you overall. You put a ton of time and effort into this already, and would just hate to see it rushed. I guess if you feel you're rushing for the finish line and cutting corners, just be conscious of it. Yeah. And like I said, I do recognize that another 6 months of just focusing on polish would probably be great. But there are kind of two worlds that or maybe three worlds or something. I don't know, some number of worlds, X worlds that we live in. So one outcome is we launch the game, it does great, and we didn't need as much polish as we thought. Another is we launch a game, it doesn't do great, and we needed more polish than we put in. And there's probably some world where, like, I don't know, the game doesn't do great for other reasons, maybe. Nothing to do with polish. Anyway, several different outcomes we could all imagine. These are hypothetical, but in this case, it's like the polish wouldn't have mattered. In this case, the polish wouldn't have mattered. What are the odds of these cases happening? And I guess better rephrased as, what are the odds that the game doesn't do well almost solely because of polish? And I assume they're low. I think if a game is fun, people will play that game. Bought a kit that had some alligator clips and some kind of Arduino thing. Oh. Wow, you can only play that so many times before you've got just banana mush in front of you. Probably want to go heavy into marketing too when you're about a month out, which will take away from dev time. Yeah, that's why I'm expecting the dev time stuff to be done kind of by like February almost. I'm not totally sure. Hey, Krasner, happy Monday to you too. Do I have chapstick somewhere? I usually keep some on my desk, but I don't. My lips feel dry. Okay, I have a tiny one here. Also hooked one up to a screaming sound. I don't like that. Oh, man. Okay. So we store the mouse position up there. Got it. Hey, Twitch. What editor do I use? This is VS Code. Yeah, welcome in. Someone buy and play Cyberpunk because of the mess at launch. I also do the same for No Man's Sky. They lost me forever. Did you buy them at launch though? Like if you bought the games and then you felt burned and then refunded and then took the stance of not buying them again, I think it's totally fine. I mean, I think it's fine. It's your stance no matter what. But if you didn't buy the game and just the game improved over time, I think that's a less strong stance, because it's kind of like saying, hey, I don't want to give my money to companies that care about improving. So yeah, if you didn't kind of feel personally burned by it. All right, what else do we have here? A whole bunch of commented out code. Uh-oh, that's not good. That's definitely not good. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but I better Command Z the whole thing now so I can find it. It's just get bounce position. Okay, that's not hard. So I don't need any of this stuff. I really should have copy pasted this whole file before doing this, but I guess we have the VS Code history. Hey, Dead Walking. Hello Games, the best example of Laborers of Love. Best villain hero arc ever in gaming. Yeah, they made No Man's Sky, right? Yeah, I think it's good that a game can redeem itself in gamers' eyes. I think it'd be a shame. Honestly, I think this is kind of true of all humanity. It's like people mess up, companies mess up, and like allow them some room to improve. Now, this all depends on what they messed up, right? If you mess up creating a game, it's like, yeah, okay, let them improve. That's not so severe. We're not talking about like violence or something or a crime against humanity. It's just like, yeah, you made a mistake. Okay, let's like grow and move on. So I'm glad that they were able to pull back from that. Now, with that said, I never was interested in No Man's Sky, and I haven't played it since. So I really don't have any skin in the game in this case. Not even with the goodening of No Man's Sky. Yeah, like I said, I think it all kind of depends on like what's fueling that stance. And again, it's your stance. I don't need to try to convince you not to have it. It just would strike me as a little bit strange if, let's say, like Skeleseller launched and it wasn't in a great state, and you're like, well, now I'm never buying it because I don't buy games that weren't great at launch. It's like, I don't know. Every company makes mistakes. I know that in their case, or at least I don't know this, but I've heard this, that they made promises that they didn't fulfill. So yeah, I think that's more of a case of maybe false advertising than just falling short of the mark. All right, so we keep the starting viewport here, but can we get this some other way? Can we get this some other way? I don't actually know the answer to this question. I'm not sure if it's possible. If it's possible, I don't know how to do it. So what we got to figure out here is if we're in an embedded window, so let's start up the game. And then let's plug in a controller. I wonder if I even need to plug this in. Can I use Bluetooth for this? All right, then what are we doing? I guess it doesn't matter what we click here. What matters is when we get to the pop-up and I click this. So now I should be able to, yeah, I can do this. Okay, but then how, and before, actually, let's do one other thing here. I should be able to activate one of these. Yeah, good. Okay, so that's all working. But what I need to find out is if I click here and then move the cursor. No. I need to, I don't know if this is possible. I need to have this pop-up open, but then have a breakpoint set only afterward. And I can set a conditional breakpoint, but I don't have a condition anymore because I removed that from the code. Oh, you know what we could probably check? Is a condition like this, which may not even work. Get viewport not equal to starting viewport. Maybe that'll work. I don't know if it did. Ah, okay, now we're good. Nice. Hey, Maya. I've never made a mistake in my life. Okay, I think this worked. Let's go take a look. So starting viewport ends in 039 and get viewport ends in something else. So how do we get starting viewport from this? Can we do like get tree dot root dot get viewport? No, that's the window. Let me get the pop-up menu. It's probably in a totally different, like there's no get parent from here, right? Yeah, it's null. Maybe pop-up menu has something? Godot pop-up menu. Wait, what? Pop-up menu is a viewport. What is this? This is a node. Computational thinking and C exam. I'm so cooked. Well, wait, you said it's tomorrow. You can still study. There's still time. You're not so cooked. You can still learn. I don't see how we do this. I think we have to go through the display server or something. Display server. Get Windows. What's it called? I don't know what it's even called. Should play that. I should replace whoops with that. I've never made a mistake in my life. Can we get the viewports from here? We can't. What is this thing called? Maybe it's sub windows? Embedded? Somewhere there's a function here whose name I forgot. Oh man, I really should have copy pasted this file. Oh wait, there it is. Get embedded sub windows. Give viewport. It's on a display server. How does get embedded sub windows count 0? All right, I don't care about this. I'm just gonna take my little shortcut here and write a comment about it. Still don't know what malloc and unions are. I don't think they're such difficult concepts so that you can't go study them now. Yeah, malloc is allocating memory. Malloc is memory allocation. Malloc, memory allocation. If you don't know the concept of memory allocation, I'd still say you could learn that tonight. And then unions are a way of taking a data structure and accessing them in different ways. So you might have, let's say, like an integer, and it's, let's say it's, I don't know, 4-byte integer. And then you might also say, let's access it as like 1 byte components of R, G, B, and A, or something like that. Hey, Goose. So yeah, these are not such difficult concepts to go learn in one night. Whereas if I was like, I don't know, go learn all of computing from the beginning and you know nothing to begin with, that's like, yeah, you're not going to get that in one night. But yeah, these two concepts you can definitely learn. Okay, so we are going to bypass this. Why is this a problem? Oh, just because it's following the wrong thing. All right, so put this here. We keep this around just for wait, why is this in virtual cursor and not in this settings thing? Just for pop-ups? Pop-up menu? I read a crazy comment about this. Hey, Tox, new to the stream. Can you give me your lore as a game dev? Yeah, that command that Rami typed out is a pretty good summary of everything. Let me see if that's complete. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, let me know if you have any other questions about that too. I don't just want to respond to people in commands, but I do get asked these questions a lot, so I tend to have commands for them. Okay, we keep this around just for pop-up menus. Oh, man. Okay, I got to write a heck of a lot of a comment for this. So somewhere here, yeah, we have embedded sub-windows turned on. And what is this called? Why isn't this not working? There we go. We run with embedded sub-windows set to true, which means pop-up menus, I guess I'll do it this way again. Pop-up menus, come on, are not in a separate game window entirely, but they are in a separate viewport. How did you study programming in your college? Just curious. It's long enough ago where it's hard for me to remember exactly how I studied, but I think you've probably, if you've watched a stream for long enough, and I know you've been here for a little bit, you've probably seen me do research or some learning on stream, and it's pretty much the same way. It's some amount of like poking around, using whatever material is like officially available. So in this case, it's documentation, right? But in your course's case, it might be the textbook, the professor, the, I don't know, any notes you took during class, sort of. Anyway, using those materials and then writing notes myself. So these things are kind of just how I learned this stuff. And actually, I encountered something really interesting. I want to kind of just nerd out for a second about this. So Godot supports some amount of localization in the form of a TR function and a TRN. So as an example here, you might do something like, hey, I want to translate hello. And when you're in French, it's going to translate it to this. And then you might have a TRN, which is you have n amount of something. So it's like I have 1 apple and I have %d apples. And you type in the number of apples you have. And then Godot picks the correct string and uses that. That was my understanding of how this stuff worked. And that was it. That's all I understood. Then I found out about how it works with multiple plural forms. So this is where things get a little bit crazy. And I'm glad to have learned this. But in languages like Polish or Arabic, you don't just have a singular form and one like catch-all plural form. You have something for just 2 of an object or many or a few of an object or something like that. So I was wondering, how does this API support this then? How would this translate to Polish? And I found out the way that it works, and I wrote this stuff down, so I'll just show you the notes. I mean, I don't know about apples, but at least with this, so here is an example of the word session and sessions in English singular and in English plural. And then for Polish, there are 3 different plural forms they needed to use here. So what happens is they will take this as a key combined with this and then pull the right string from the file. And I did not realize that's how that happened because I just thought, oh man, there are only 2 strings here. So how could it work with Polish, for example? Hey, Vidrith. Anyway, it was cool to learn. But yeah, that took me like half an hour to go research because surprisingly, I think the Godot documentation is lacking there. If you look up localization, and I did like a million searches for this stuff, you'll find this. They talk about pluralization. So this is the only line that they say, but they don't explain how this works. They just say it offers support for pluralization so the target locales can handle this automatically. But like that wasn't clear to me what's going on under the hood, and now I understand it more. And what's also kind of cool is you have these files that describe how you pluralize something. So like in French, here are the plural rules. It's when n is greater than 1, it's going to be plural. So just like in English, right? You say I have 3 apples and I have 1 apple. In French, it's the same way. In Korean, it's apparently not the same way, and I also did not know this. Korean plural form, it just says there's 1 plural. And that's it. So apparently in Korean, you add some other thing to a sentence to indicate something's plural. I don't totally understand it. But yeah, I didn't realize that. And apparently Japanese and at least Chinese are pretty similar. Hey, Kevin. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff. Anyway, this comment is not nearly long enough for what it has to. It's got a lot of heavy lifting to do. Keep this around just for pop-up menus. We run with this set to true, which means pop-up menus are not in a separate game window or like OS window, but they are in a separate viewport. As a result, 2 things have to happen. We need to reparent this so that it gets, yeah. 1, we need to reparent the, this actually should say virtual cursor. We need to reparent the virtual cursor so that it can even get events in the new viewport. And 2, we need to get the mouse position according to the current viewport or the original viewport. Get the mouse position according to the original viewport since we embed subwindows. I couldn't figure out a way to fetch this at runtime after this virtual cursor has been reparented. Okay, and then the only other thing we need to do is turn this into a proper list, and I don't remember how you do that. I think it's like this. Yeah, I think that's how you do this. So now if I hover over this, it should show a list. It just says loading. Fine, I'll reload this. Did you say what I worked on in Google? So yeah, there are commands for a lot of this stuff, but I do have the Google command for that. And yeah, this says what I worked on in this document, and I talked about it in the video too. In short, to save you having to click that stuff, it was GCP and then Android Studio. After the game, will you change your handle to Adam Learns to Live? Sorry, I had to. I might have to. We don't know. How do you set the type of this to a number? Maybe like that? Yeah, that worked. Okay. Just making sure. Remember to make a note that we'll need to change this if we ever uncheck that. Not planned, but yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear because of this. Because I said as a result of having this thing set to true. But I guess I can explicitly write that. If we ever change that setting, we would need to change some code here. Without this, yeah, I don't think we need to write anything here. Okay, yeah, take care, Maya. I should be live in 4 or 5 hours. I should be just coming back from my lunch break around then. Best of luck with the studying. But that's okay. The original viewport shouldn't change. All right, cool. So we have a heck of a comment for that. So then this isn't needed. We can just do starting viewport here and same thing down here. Change these things. Starting viewport. All right, get rid of this breakpoint. I don't care. There's another one of these. Get rid of that. Okay, what are we looking at now? There is the focus entered and exited. I'm not a huge fan of this either. How often does this happen? How about I just print focus exited and focus entered? I just want to see how often does this happen during the game. It should pretty much never happen. Just when you click away from the window. Seems easily reusable. Yeah, yeah. Although the next game I'm thinking of making shouldn't need a virtual cursor. Oh man, I'm so excited about so many things. I'm so excited about launching Skeleseller. I'm excited about starting a new game, and I'm not frustrated by needing to finish Skeleseller. So like, it's just excitement tacked on to more excitement. A lot of times when I was younger, I would want to work on a new game, and by wanting to work on the new game, I'd get annoyed by the current one I was working on. I'd be like, I want to finish this up, or let's just abandon this project. No, I'm happy to work on this for now, but I'd also be happy to work on another thing. Do you have a Twitter account? I do, but I don't post it all on there. And as you might imagine, there's a command for that. Okay, so what was I doing? I was gonna see how often we see this stuff happen. And it looks like it might happen during loading, which I actually would not expect. Let me click return to title and then story mode and continue. No, maybe it doesn't. Maybe I just clicked somewhere over there. Okay, so if I click anything over here, like this, or this, or this, all of this is fine until I click one of these three things. Then if I click that, yeah, we see focus exited over here. And then focus entered again. Okay, and then if I click outside the window, it happens. Yeah, so I think that's okay. Because that will happen so infrequently, and we're running like less than a millisecond of code anyway. Hey, Sasola. Some tips in a platformer game? You mean to make one? I think my biggest advice about a platformer actually comes from the business side of things, which is have an incredibly strong reason for making a platformer. I think the technical aspect pales in comparison to the business aspect in this case, because lots of people make platformers and it's incredibly hard to stand out as a platformer. So your reason is not just like reason for you, it's also what's your hook? Like, why will people play this? How will we get customers, basically? Like, these things I think you need to analyze even more than if you were making a different kind of game. But then as far as the technical side of things, if you're new to making platformers, I'd say just start with some basic stuff. And also think about how platformers, like, what are the common rules of a platformer? And so you'll have like a platform that you can land on from above, but go through from the bottom. Platform that is solid from any direction. Conservation of momentum. I don't know, like slopes, angles, ramps, a whole bunch of different things. Okay, so this doesn't happen very frequently. I don't want this here though. So let's extract these into a new function. This is focus. I'll just copy paste them. Okay, so we're going to do private void focus, or like on focus exited. Actually, wait, isn't this the same code? We go through this, we try to get the first pop-up, and then we either reparent to get tree.root. Yeah, Yeah, this is pretty much the same code. I guess we can just say on focus change. I'll test it out just to make sure. In fact, you know what? Let's, as long as I'm about to break stuff, let's copy paste this into a new file here. There. All right, so otherwise the code is pretty much the same. I'm gonna just take this, put this up here, and that's if pop-up is null. So either way, we're gonna reparent. So, oh man, pressing tab is sometimes very difficult when the AI fights me. So we're gonna reparent if pop-up is null, then get tree root, otherwise a pop-up. And then just delete all of this code. There we go. And then plug this in over here. And then same thing for this. And maybe we should save off the root. It's a window. Root equals get tree root. I know the Unity will be implemented in Fortnite, but I still don't understand how big that is, even though everyone's saying it's huge. I haven't followed any of the news. Oh yeah, pop up question mark root. Good idea. Okay, let's try this out. Hey, who cares? Happy Monday. Man, I had such a vivid dream and I woke up and it's pretty dark in the room when I'm waking up now because it's earlier and earlier because of the cat. And the cat is standing like next to me. And I thought, oh man, I guess it's exactly 6:30. And sure enough, it was. That cat has a perfect internal clock. Okay, so how do I open the settings menu? I can't. All right, well, we can do it through there. So I click this, I click this, I click 10 seconds. Yeah, the tooltip should all work. Yep, everything's good. Now, can I like trick this somehow? Can I click outside of here and then come back and this should still work? Yes, what about if I do that and then come back here? Yeah, this is looking good. Oh wait, I could open the settings thing. Something similar happened to me, but kittens were snoring. I honestly did not know cats could snore until like 2 years ago. And I don't even think it was because of Abby. I think it's because someone in chat had said that their cat was snoring. And I'm like, what? I didn't know that was possible. I just assumed cats were made better than we were. But nope, they're not. You wake up at 7:20. Well, normally that would have been me, but then daylight saving time happened and the cat doesn't know about this human convention of daylight saving time. So she still wakes me up at the same time, according to her. Okay, now I think this code looks pretty good. See the comment for starting viewport for why we need to do this. Actually, maybe I should just write that down here. Yeah. That would be great if I could type. Oh, Tox, thanks for subbing. That's very kind of you. What is going on? What am I doing? Why is this not... I must have a syntax error somewhere. But what did I even just change? Huh. Strange. Yeah, welcome in, Tox. Oh, maybe this is just me needing to reload VS Code again. I do not like having to do this all the time. And Poetril, thank you too. Welcome, both of you. Happy 20 months total. All right, so C starting viewport. Whoa, for an explanation. Yep, nice. Okay, code is looking pretty good. The event itself is still needed for the sake of mouse entry and exit signals, e.g. on tooltips. All right, mouse position. We don't actually use this anywhere else, do we? No, we do. Okay, that's fine. What about here? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Now, what about this? This code still needs to be revamped. Yeah, sorry. This is a lot of today is going to be polishing controller support. If we do get done with this, which we might, then I'll go merge Kevin's PR and then Dark's PR. So either way, we're doing mostly coding stuff today, I think. Oh, this. I gotta write a reason for why this is needed. Well, actually, no, I don't. I could just say this is needed. Hey, Boolean, how you doing? Yeah, okay. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. And then this is just for getting this thing to work. All right, let's check this in. So get controller support to work with pop-up menus. This was a beast. Viewports don't make this easy. I wrote a bunch of comments to clarify what's happening. Yeah, this was nuts. All right, now as for this change was much more straightforward, but I just wrote it stupidly. So I want to see if I can write it a little bit better. Because yeah, I think this is a mess. In all of these cases, we are adding or subtracting from a value. and we just have different conditions. So I guess one of the easiest ways we could do this, we could say something like bool, or not even bool. What am I doing? What is this? Double. Okay, so double delta equals 0. And then say delta equals this. Delta equals negative that. Then same thing for all of these. We don't even have the except event here. So this is the simplest thing I can do. Delta equals and... Okay, and then down here we say if delta is not equal to 0, then do whatever I used to have there, which I don't remember anymore. Game scale edit dot value. Game scale edit dot value plus equal delta, and then accept event. All right, so that's slightly nicer, but we still have a lot of the same structure here that I'd like to get rid of. It's not easy, but it's also not obscure. Yeah. I think it's a little bit obscure. I think you need to know how Godot processes events when embedded subwindows are on, and that pop-ups are special in that they make a subwindow, or, well, yeah, they make a subwindow in this case. And then figuring out how to do it is not super straightforward, because originally it was like, oh, well, we'll just check for a pop-up popping up, but you can't do that, or at least not, it's not really the way to do it. So I do think it's somewhat obscure, but it's pedantic whether or not it's obscure. I don't really need to prove that it is or not. All right, so all these have allow echo. I'm not actually certain we want to do that. So these are 3 different kinds of events. And each event defines its own is action pressed. Is action pressed. It's not even here. Input event with modifiers. Does this have it? Is action. Where does this come from? Comes from input event. Are all of these things input events? They must be. I mean, it says input event with modifier, so I'm assuming yes. What is this one? Input event. Okay, good. And this one, input event. Okay, so then all we really care about is that they're input events. So I could probably just consolidate all of this. Well, no, technically I can't. No, but I think I can consolidate these. All right, let me copy paste this. Let me just save this in temp somewhere as backup.cs. I'll probably never look at that again, but okay, so if input event is, I think we can just do input event here. Unless we already have this up there, we do, we have it right here. Is GUI input providing that? Nope, now this broke again. Someday this won't break every 3 minutes. Now I can't press F12 on this. Come on, just show me the code. GUI input event handler. I want to find out what this passes in. Yeah, it's an input event. So we know that it's an input event. So we don't need to do this. We could just do this. So this is UI camera up and down. Oh, but then the axis. Oh man. Okay, maybe we need to do something about that. Let's try deleting that and just see what happens. I don't know if this makes the code any clearer. And in fact, I don't mind the intermediate thing that we had. So here's what this is for. When you go into the settings and you have a number input, you should be able to press up to increase it and down to decrease it. And that works. Now what can I press up on the... Okay, this does work, but this is a little bit weird because it's an analog stick. And I'm using it to change a discrete value. We could write custom logic for that. I mean, we had the custom logic. Yeah. We need to put this back to how it was. I mean, I can just press Command Z. I don't need to do anything special here. Joypad button. Man, yeah, I think this is slightly nicer. Don't check exactly. Is there like a is close to 0? All right, fine. Math.abs of delta minus math.epsilon is... What am I doing? What am I doing? Just if delta is less than epsilon. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I guess math.abs to delta is less than epsilon. Or I want greater than. Also, delta is only ever going to be equal to this or negative this. What is this? Huh. It's apparently custom. Okay, let's try this. Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to press the stick up or down. And yeah, this works more like how I would expect. There is some oddity with if I were to like barely wiggle the stick when it's at about 90% pressed, but I don't think this matters. Hey, Harry, welcome in. We are working on controller support today. There's one other little touch up I want to do here, which is you can press up and down to make this go, but you can't press right and left. And I want right and left to also work. That's a very easy change to do. We don't have it for the keyboard, which I don't think you'd care about. And the arrows do go up and down. But here, I think we can do this. So if this or... So up would be up and right would be up. And then this is left and down. And then same thing down here. That's right. Oops, I already got the parenthesis correctly. And then this is down or left. Yeah, there, cool. All right, kind of a mess. I'm going to move that out probably into its own thing. And we technically need every line edit to have this, to the point where I wonder if I should just give it a custom script. And that way it's consolidated there. So now if I press right and if I press left, this works. If I do it with this, it works. Yeah, this is nice. So if I just move the stick in a circle, it does this. And same thing with the D-pad. Not that anyone will ever do that. Huh. It's actually surprisingly usable because you can just move your thumb between down and left and then up and right and make it go at twice the speed. Although you should just be able to hold. No, you can't do that. Everyone will do that. Hey, slope side. All right, let's set this back to what it was, which is that. And save. Okay, so I like this. What I don't like is that it's exclusive to this component, and we want to add a script to this. It's a spin box. I'm guessing we don't use any other spin box in the entire game. Nope. Yeah, nowhere else. These are Godot pieces of code. In fact, if I do it like that, this kind of proves it. Yeah, we have one scene with a spin box. All right, well, let's go add in the script over there. I think that's probably better anyway. So attach script. I want to put this in source UI. We could put it in virtual input. Doesn't really belong there though. I'll just say spin box with hotkeys. Sure. Yeah, sure. And then we just copy paste this code over there. Where is it? Where is it indeed? Where's that giant blob of code I wrote? There it is. So this is a spin box. We have its get line edit. So all we care about is that you pressed up or you pressed down on it. So here's what we'll do. We'll put this over here. And we'll make namespace game source UI. We'll make some actions here. An action for like increased value and decreased value. Yeah. And then down here we say if delta is greater than epsilon, then increased. Else if delta is less than epsilon, then decreased. Yeah. Well, negative epsilon. Okay. So now we don't care about this stuff. We would just say delta equals 1. In fact, then we don't need any of that. We could say int delta equals 0. Delta equals -1. Yeah, same thing for all of this. Come on. Don't make me type out 1. All right, if it's greater than 0 and if it's less than 0. Now we don't need, oh, we still do need system. I thought math was included too. All right, so this is still kind of a mess, but whatever. At least it's a contained mess now. And then over here, what we can do is we can say, this is now no longer a spin box. It is a spin box with hotkeys. And make sure I save the scene so I don't screw that up. I did not. Good. All right, so when we fetch this, it's spin box with hotkeys. And when we use it, we only care about increased value. And that's where we're going to do this, plus equal. Hello? Man, tab is so weird when it's both your AI accept thing and also your tab key. All right. Now, what's wrong with increased value? It can only appear on left side of this. Whoops, that's supposed to be a plus equal. All right, delta doesn't matter here. We just care about this bit. Done. And then the same thing for decreased value. Decreased value is going to be minus equal. And then we just delete all of this code. There. All right, so that looks a lot cleaner. Let's try it out. Yeah, obviously strive for good code, but if you're going to have bad code, keep that code isolated. And I don't even think this is bad. There's probably a more elegant way of writing this, and it's just not worth figuring out. Because how we have to handle the keyboard is different from how we have to handle the controller. So yeah, down and up work on the keyboard, up and down work on the D-pad, left and right work on the D-pad, and on the analog stick. Yeah, they're both working. Hey, Mohit Kumar. Have you tried Error Lens? Because it tells the error directly online. Yeah, I already have that on. So if I were to delete this, for example, it should say, yeah, it says right there, parenthesis expected. Okay, cool. So happy with this. We can go check this in. So this is adding in the new script. This is putting all that code somewhere else. And actually, you can see what the old code was. The old code only handled keyboard shortcuts. So we had check for up, check for down. Now we still have check for up and check for down. It's just that's encapsulated into the new class that we made. Yeah, and so like I said, this is a little bit ugly. Hey, ABC. Yeah, I need strategies at Strategy Factory. Yeah. One thing that might be worth doing is writing that this is not perfect, but I think we just write a comment on here saying something like spin box that emits events when its values are increased or decreased via hotkeys, either via the keyboard or a controller. Yeah, there. It controllers support for spin box. All right, we are in great shape so far. It's been a decent morning already. We just have to fix all this stuff up and figure out what work we still have to do. But I'm going to take a quick break. I want to run this command every once in a while and just advertise that this weekend Jitspo is running an event. The time is here on this thing. I guess there's a countdown too, so you can tell exactly when it's going to be. But yeah, the event description is there. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to keep working on controller support. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hello, hello. Hey, Pavlus. So let me explain how this works really quickly, because I see you typing very large numbers. So J0 is straight up. So if I just type J0, it goes straight up. And then positive numbers are going to be from that up position. So if I do J1, it's going to be very slightly to the right. And J45 will be a 45-degree angle to the right. And then same thing with negative numbers on the left. Oh man, I just realized I forgot to run the ad break during that time. I knew I forgot something. All right, well, sorry everyone, but there's no stopping this now. There's going to be an ad break for 3 minutes. In fact, let me just start it now, and then I'll get back to work, and that way it'll be done 40 seconds sooner than went into my work. So there we go. All right, close the game. Okay, so conclusions after hours of struggling. We need to keep around the main viewport. Only works when we use embedded windows. Yep. If you move the mouse via the controller, tooltips will flicker at the upper left. Done. What about a second node? Maybe want to do this with local coordinates. So we're done with that stuff. This isn't needed. Can't use pop-up menus like that with just the mouse. That's already finished. Game scale can't be changed. Allow pressing A to save the settings. B already works. I don't recall if I wanted to do this. Yeah, I think I do. So when you open up this, pressing A should just confirm, which means pressing enter should probably confirm it. Game settings menu. And then isn't there... No, I guess that's it. Well, wait, what about when you're in the game? You can press this. I think both A and B should go back to the game. Maybe, or maybe A shouldn't do anything. Yeah, no, I think just we use A to save. Okay, so where do we find that? In here? Unhandled input. Yeah, okay, this should be dead simple. So if not is visible in tree, then just return. Let's cancel. And now if input dot is action just pressed. We're not supposed to use just pressed here. We're not supposed to use any of this, but I'll change that later. UI accept. So if you've accepted it, we want to go down to save. How do we save? Actually close. What? All right, well, that's not a great name for something. But yeah, I guess we run actually close. And then set this as handled. You can also use ESLint. It'll suggest like some components are declared but not used. So ESLint should be for JavaScript. The ES stands for ECMAScript, which is the official name of JavaScript. But yes, I can use linters for this sort of thing. And we are using linters. We have analyzers and what, Roslyn and something else installed. I don't know what. Okay, so we should be able to open this menu, go to settings, press save on this. Let's see if that's actually working though. How would I test that? I guess we could change this, and then if I press B, it says you have unsaved changes. So I'm gonna hit undo. But now, whoops, I didn't mean to click that. But if I press A, yeah, it just saves it. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Yeah, nice. Now what's going on with that? You can't, oh, interesting. You can't move the camera and press escape at the same time. Seems like a bug. Where is it even happening? Town? No. What checks to see if you press this? I wonder if we need to do this. Event is action pressed. Would this fix anything? Because this was already a change I had planned, but I'm elevating the priority a little bit because I just noticed this. So I'm going to go to here. Continue. No, it's still not working. I don't know why. All right, so something's consuming this input. Unhandled input. It's not even unhandled input. Input? Yeah, just input. If can you mark just that event as handled? No. Or motion event? No. I think this is marking everything as handled, and I'm not totally sure why. I also don't really care too much, so maybe we just don't do anything about this. Yeah, I'll just revert this for now. All right, so now you can press A on the settings menu to save it. Allow UI accept to save settings. This is nice on controller. You can press, yeah. Okay, so we're finished with that stuff and finished with this. Next up is the battle map. Allow for pressing confirm if there's only one battle you can go to. So over here, let's say you pick the party you want. Right now we have 2 buttons here, so we wouldn't know which one you'd want. But in a lot of cases, there's only one. So if I start a new game, for example, and I go over to here and I only have the archer and we have the start battle thing over here. So pressing A should enable start battle. So let's save this and go to battle map, battle panel tab. Yeah. All right, so there should be a start battle button. Where are you? Start button, start battle. Here it is. And then there's start. Yeah, so they're both just start battle. So if only one of these is enabled, we don't have any input handling. We don't have any input handling. Guess we never needed it here. Okay, well, let's add unhandled input then. Public override unhandled input. If event is action pressed, UI accept, and is visible in tree. Then we want to start the battle, but only if there's also only one button. Hey, hard worker, thank you. So how do we check to see if there's one button or 2 buttons? We hide one of the buttons? No, where is that? Disabled? They're not disabled. It's not even there, is it? No, it's not there. There's a, I don't remember how any of this works, but there's an elite battle button somewhere. There it is. And somewhere oh, I see. We set visible. We don't just call hide on it. So I need to find out whether or not there's only one button visible. And then if there is only one button visible, we just enable that button. So I guess this isn't too hard to do. Bool only one button. I guess let's do it this way. Like, oh, it's not even visible. It's enabled. Is only, I'll just do it this way. All right, so this is called battle. If this is, all right, I'm changing my mind. Elite is only button. Is it's visible and it's enabled. And the regular button is disabled. What happens in that case? So I beat this location. We go to the next one. Yeah, it's, yeah. There. Okay, and then bool is regular is only button. So the start button is visible and it's not disabled, and the other one is not visible or it's disabled. Okay, so if this is the only button, then we're going to start a battle true. Yep. And we're going to mark this as handled in those cases. Perfect. All right, this logic can probably be a little bit better. At what time do I sleep? I don't know, probably 11:30, midnight, something like that. I probably should try getting more sleep. I think daylight saving time screwed everything up. Like everything was fine, and then my cat shifted my schedule by an hour. Okay, so now we go back into here. We open up the battle map. And after I pick a party, I can just press A, and it's going to start a battle at the elite one. Uh-oh, that's not right. Wait, no, maybe that is right. Because I had the forest selected? Yeah. Okay, that did work. So that's fine. Now we click that. And then we go up to here, and same thing. I press A, it should battle the elite. Good. And now when we win this one, and I press A, it should start the regular battle. Good. And then if I do this, then we cannot use this to start a battle anymore, right? Yeah, because now there are 2 buttons. Hey, Airs. Happy half year. Thank you for the resub. Any progress is good progress. Yeah, you know, this just popped up again for me pretty recently. I sort of hurt my back doing something, and I'm not totally sure what. And then my exercise level dropped a lot as a result. And I felt bad. Like if I couldn't do the amount I used to be doing, that I shouldn't do anything. And it's like, that's the opposite of how it should work. It's like a little bit of exercise is better than nothing. A little bit of dieting is better than nothing. A little bit of game dev is better than nothing. So yeah. How's Arc Raiders going? I think I dropped in during one stream because I wanted to see what PvP looked like. And I watched for 15 minutes and there was no PvP. And I concluded this is probably not the game for me. Okay, so yeah, you can't press A on these things. I think that's okay. Well, maybe we should just have it start the regular battle in that case. Yeah, I think you'd want it to start the regular battle. So only, how about this? If the elite is the only button, then we start the elite battle. Otherwise, we just start the regular battle no matter what. But we need to make sure that you actually can start the regular battle. Is allowed is just this. Okay, I think that's what we want. PvP is hard, not because fighting is hard, because so many people have mics that make you feel bad. You're saying you have voice chat on? Is there a way to turn it off? Why is this not working? Semicolon expected. Oh, right. I don't know how that if got deleted. I probably did that, but I just don't remember it. Okay, so here's the logic for this. We only start an elite battle if it's the only button possible. We otherwise assume that you want to start a regular battle, even if both buttons are present and enabled. All right, now let's test that out. She loves taunting people. Get wrecked, noobs. This is airs on Twitch. I am the wrecker. I am the one who knocks. Yeah, she's constantly belittling people on her stream, just constantly. Okay, so this worked well. Let's try this now. Actually, this is pretty nice. Okay, now let's try it again. It should start the regular battle no matter what. Yeah. And the other part of no matter what is this. Good, regular battle, nice. They sounded so defeated. Oh man, that reminds me. I was playing World of Warcraft a long time ago, and I was on a PvP server, and I came across this character, this other person who was leveling, and I started attacking them, and they just stopped moving. And there was no way for them to talk to me, but them stopping moving was like a pretty clear indicator that they're like, oh, my life, why is this happening? So I just walked away. Apparently playing dead works even with humans. Hey, Matt. All right, so this is looking pretty good. Allow UI accept for starting battles. As the comment mentions, this will start a regular battle whenever one is possible. It will only start an elite battle when it's the only battle possible. Okay, cool. Okay, you can't drop loot items right now. I imagine that pressing B should work. We also got to change the tooltip. I don't like this idea. I don't like this idea at all. Here's drop item. I like that. That's fine. What I want to do is I want to check if event is, what's it called? Joypad button. And yeah, I guess it's pressed. And the button is action pressed. UI, no, UI cancel. So in all of these cases, I want to do the same thing. Okay, so UI cancel should only drop an item if pressed via the controller. Let's try that out. It's almost not worth fighting in most cases. Yeah, so by the way, the reason that this popped up is because I play the finals and a friend of mine said, "Oh, Arc Raiders just came out. It's a PvE game." And I'm like, "Okay, let me check out the PvP part of it." I didn't know anything about the game, so I just thought, "Oh, I'll check out how like fast-paced is combat, what actually happens." So I just assumed there was more PvP because the last the last game I played like this was something with dungeon in the name. What was that? It was a very popular game. PvE game. Oh, what was it called? Dark and Darker. That's what it was. Yeah, Dark and Darker. It didn't have dungeon in the name. The one hint I gave was not an accurate hint. Yeah, I played this game and this had a lot more PvP and it was very frustrating, in my opinion. Doesn't Godot support input mapping, so you could look specifically for cancel action in the input method to invoke cancel is performed at the engine layer? I mean, that's pretty much what I'm doing here. Hey, Janet, thanks for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. How's the game dev going? I saw you were working on a survival game, and then I saw this morning stream title was something like drinking coffee. So I assume that's the precursor to coding. Yeah, welcome in, everyone. We are working on a game called Skeleseller here, and we're actually adding controller support. So this might sound like it's bad, but I think it makes the most sense for this game. We've just got a virtual cursor for controller support. So like I can move this little cursor around and I can, choose buttons and everything else. And the reason why I think this makes sense for this game is because there's a lot of stuff that you might want to look at tooltips for, or move the map around. It's almost like an RTS in that regard. So like, let's say I put a bunch of items on the ground. In order to even see what these things are, I need to hover over them. I think if we were to make like a selection box and you press left or right and it just move them around, then it would be kind of weird. Mostly just the app today. How's the game going though? So yeah, anyway, as far as gameplay goes, for those who've never seen this, it's a very laid back town management game. You send adventurers into battle. They fight automatically. They earn items like what you saw over here. And then customers come buy these items and use that to upgrade your town. So we are working on controller support today, and I'm trying to launch the game in hopefully March of next year. So that's less than 100 days, I think it would give me. Did you spend 272 days on this game? 272 stream days, yeah. But calendar days, it's roughly double that. We started in April of last year. And by the time we launch, it will be pretty close to April 2 years later. So it took about 2 years to make this. I mean, they would basically combine both those if statements into one that just handles cancel, but seems like it's smooth enough as it is here. Yeah. I think I see what you're saying. But yeah, I don't think this is like super roundabout. The multiplayer works. Nice. Okay. I guess the next step is to drop the quotation marks. Yeah, so as mentioned with the controller support stuff, virtual cursor, and then we're trying to make some affordances for anything that's kind of obvious what you'd want to do. So for example, here, if I were to press A, the most obvious action is to start a battle because I have this selected and I have a battle party set up, so I can press the button and yeah, it starts. Now, what I do wonder is what happens if we don't have someone in our party? Okay, nice. Nothing bad happens. And what happens if we've unlocked this and we don't have someone in our party? Still nothing bad happens. Okay. All right, take care. Have a good lunch. Thanks again for the raid. And yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day. Using a Steam controller? I'm using a Nintendo... Hang on a second. The cable's kind of weird. I'm using a Pro controller, the first version. I have a second version. I think it's better, but for whatever reason, it just does not work on Mac. Although maybe... Yeah, maybe there's something I can do. Now, with that said, I do have a Steam Deck here, and I will eventually be testing on that, but it's much harder to do that. And I feel like if it works on this computer, it's going to work on a Steam Deck too. We obviously need to test that. In fact, I should write that down if I haven't already. Steam Deck. Okay, so wrapping up, test this on Steam Deck. Maybe push a playtest version. I want to make sure Steam input isn't getting in the way of the virtual cursor that I added, because I think it will. Hey, Fallen. Are you planning to add any kind of object snapping when a cursor is close? No, I don't think so. I want to just kind of see how this works already. We have mouse acceleration, and I want to add some settings that would let you tone this down. So like if you need to move to something that's kind of close, you can nudge the cursor a little bit, which is not probably the most ergonomic. And then I don't currently have a way of zooming in or out, but we have another branch that'll have that, which might make it a little bit easier to click things. But in general, what I think most people are going to use for this is the quick move menu. And the quick move menu is already pretty decent for this stuff. So like you would just click an item and, oh, I turned the menu off. Okay, let's turn this back on. There we go, save. Okay, yeah, so you would just click an item and then from here you drag up or left or down or something like that. So if I want to put this in the shop, I just click there. And that way, I don't think there's too much movement you even need to do. And at the end of the day too, we have a bunch of workers helping you. So you shouldn't really need to move anything if you don't want to. I think it's going to matter more for bone mode, and I don't think people will be competitive on a controller, and that's okay. Holdy hand stays holdy hand. Well, when pausing, yeah. I wonder if I should change that. I'll write it down. If you grab an item and then press escape, the cursor is still the grab cursor. It makes it awkward to click since the pointer isn't obvious. Game looks so great. It's come a long way. Yeah, it has come a long way. And I really like how everything's shaping up. We added a lot of nice little touches that I haven't seen people play test the game since adding these yet. But like this boss now shows on the map. So a lot of times before this, people didn't realize this was a boss location. It's pretty hard not to realize that now, especially because the button says Fight Elite. And then you get into the battle gets a different border as soon as it starts. It's got snakes and bones on it. And we're not going to have different music probably. But anyway, still, it should be more apparent. And then also we have a larger battle map. So once you have seen a couple of bosses, you'll realize, oh, large enemy on the thing means it's a boss battle. Hey, Bedra. So yeah, and welcome in Nerf Crazy. Sorry, I only answered your question without actually acknowledging you. All right, so this one was easy to do. The thing that I think is going to be a little bit harder to do. Wait, no. Hang on. I didn't test this, did I? What happens if you click an item and then press B? Nope, that doesn't work. All right, this is a problem, right? We need to change the order this happens in. And I guess this shouldn't be here. This should be in player held item. Unhandled input. There we go. Yeah. I think this will work. So now you should be able to drop an item that you're holding with the controller. If there was no way to do this, then you'd just be stuck sometimes with an item on your cursor forever. I guess you could always save and load the game. But yeah, let's try this out. So I just want to grab that armor item and then drop it. There we go. Yeah. That took me a while because I was pressing the wrong button. I've got to press B on the controller, not A. Yeah. So I can pick this up and drop it. If I do this fast enough, I think it'll fly to a different location. That's not happening for some reason. Huh. It happens with mouse, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It happens very quickly with mouse. I wonder if I'm about to cause the same bug with controller once I make this new change. I want to put this exactly there. Yeah, I can't get this to happen. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now the next problem is a little bit tougher because after 5 seconds, a tooltip shows up and it says press right click to drop. Or well, it says right click to drop. It's got to say something different. Maybe if you're on a controller, it's natural for you to assume that pressing the back button or the deny button would drop it. So we just don't need a tooltip in that case at all. That might not be bad. So we could just detect, did you start this with the mouse? And if so, show right click to drop. If not, don't show anything. Yeah, I think that's good. Or yeah, press the cancel button to drop. Okay, so how do we do that? Where does right click to drop even show here? And we show this somewhere, fade in right here, show drop item tip. You could start with a controller, switch to mouse. Yeah, for something like that, I don't mind. And I also don't think that'll happen very frequently. And in that case, I think a player might be confused, but they might still have their controller and can just press B on their controller. But alternatively, we could, I guess the easy thing to do, maybe I should just take the easy way out. We could just say right click / cancel to drop. No, that's not going to be obvious. All right, never mind. I thought that would be nice. All right, well, where's the fade in thing here? Here, show drop item tip. And where's that come? That's here. And that is started where? Right there, start holding item. So start holding item is probably called from many different locations. Only 2, but I think these are called from different locations as well. Pick up item from last item source. Holding an item without actually having ever tried dragging it. Man, I don't want to have to trace this through everything, but I think we might have to. Like, we don't have an event here. We just have a source. So we need to pass something in like used mouse. I mean, let's just see how much of the call stack that poisons. So this then would need used mouse here. And this is called from a bunch of different locations. This we know for sure it's the mouse. It says right here. So we could say used mouse. True. What else do we have here? Oh, wait. No, maybe we don't know this because I'm... No, we only use the mouse if the event device is not equal to the emulated one. I don't even know where that comes from. Device : equals there. Input event dot device ID emulation. Input event device ID emulation. Okay. Now there's one other case where we have this, and it's right there. This also needs used mouse. This is going to be annoying, isn't it? Because this is something sourced from like a bunch of different events. We don't have the event information. I explicitly got rid of this because we never needed it. Oh man, okay. I wonder if there's an easier way to do this. What if the virtual cursor kept track of the last time you pressed something on the controller? Maybe we keep track of this on virtual cursor. It could set the last time you used the controller. And if it was within like 7 seconds, then we don't show the tooltip. It doesn't sound too bad. Although it would mean that we need access to the virtual cursor from here. And the virtual cursor exists in main? I actually don't remember where, but I think it's in main. Yeah, it is. So we need to pass this to the town. I guess we don't technically have to. We could just go up the scene tree and find it, or add it to a group or something like that. It's essentially a singleton if we do that. Well, what else could we do? So yeah, option 1, pass events all the way from the source to figure out if we use the mouse to trigger well, to pick up an item, the physical mouse. Option 2, keep track of the last time you used virtual cursor. If it was within 7 seconds of picking up an item, then we don't show the tooltip. Anything else we can do here? Because where does this come from? Something in town saying you clicked an item display. Yeah. There's all sorts of events here. And these events pass in a display and a Boolean, and that's it. And like we need to have it pass in an input event as well. And if we did that, then fetching this would be trivially easy. Because then we change this function and we just have an event here. And we'd probably just pass those along to these two. And then examine the event when you get to here. I don't know how I feel about this. There might be some reason why we stopped doing that. Maybe there's some way to simulate this. I think I want to go with option 2. It just seems easier. But then the problem is, so now new problem, we need to be able to fetch virtual cursor from player held item. I don't think that's a very big problem. Yeah, I don't think that's a big problem. In fact, if we do it with a node group, it should be super easy. Yeah, we just give it another. And we give it a group that lets us find this node. Is there a find node or a group thing or something? Add to group. Here we go. Get nodes in group. Yeah, so we could do something like that. We call get nodes in group, get the one node that we have. Wander region, where do we set that? Town scene? Is that global? Wander regions. It's a scene group. What's the difference? Those scene group versus global group? Here we go. Where do they say the difference? Huh. The same underlying logic is used for both. Groups with the same name are considered one and the same. Feature is purely organizational. Oh, okay. Okay, so we could just make a scene group. Do you plan on showing buttons next to actions when using controller? No, I don't think so. I don't even think we do show any actions other than this one. This is the only one I can think of that actually tells you like press right click to drop this. I can't think of another place. I guess technically we do say like click the adventurers button to do something, but you will still be clicking it with your controller, so that's kind of fine. I don't see a problem with that. But yeah, we never talk about keyboard shortcuts otherwise. The only other place is here. And I forgot how we're changing this, but we're changing this somehow. Okay, yeah, so that's what we're going to try at least. And maybe I'm happy, maybe I'm not happy. Let's find out. So I'm going to add a new group to this. How do you do this? Oh, there. Name, we're going to call this virtual cursor. And click OK. And now we have get nodes in group. We're going to do this from here, I suppose. There's no ready in here? What? Really? Huh, interesting. Okay, well, that's fine. So private virtual cursor equals null. So this is guaranteed to exist. We put this up here. Virtual cursor. Oh, what am I doing? Get this of type virtual cursor. And why is that a problem? Cannot implicitly convert an I enumerable. Oh, I see. Is there like a get node in group? No, there's a get nodes in group. Okay, well, we're going to do that. There should only ever be one of these. And what do you have to type? Get? What's going on? The first? Okay, that's what I want. So there's the virtual cursor. Now we get rid of all this used mouse garbage on here. In fact, I could probably do this easier by just looking through the diff. What do we have here? That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's not. That's not. And that's not. Okay, what next? Now I store in virtual cursor when you last used this. Okay. Public double last use time. Get private set. Update last use time. I don't know what this is supposed to be. I have some like start time equals code somewhere at datetime.now.ticks, and it's a long. All right, whether or not I want to stick with that, I don't know, but let's do that for now, I guess. Datetime.now.ticks. All right, so that's update last use time. Now we need to call this from a few places. So whenever we synthesize an event, we call this. And whenever we move the mouse, we call this. Then we'll put a comment on this saying when we last used the virtual cursor in ticks. This is useful to differentiate mouse inputs from physical mouse inputs from virtual mouse inputs when you don't have direct access to an input. I should say ccref equals input event. If you did have access, then you could check the device property. Yeah, nice. And then did should probably be in italics. Okay. Now we consult the last use time from player held item when you want to show that thing, this. So if virtual cursor, I guess long elapsed time since using virtual cursor in seconds. All right, virtual cursor dot. I'll just make that a property. Elapsed time since last use. How about just elapsed seconds since last use? That's pretty good. So if that elapsed time is less than 7, I'm going to say, then return. Then we go make this property. Virtual cursor. Public this is going to be equal to that, I guess. Is that even how that works? Elapsed time equals time span dot ticks per second. Okay, I guess we make this a double. Okay. And what are we looking at now? There's another elapsed time in here. Interesting. But yeah, it's this. All right, I think this will work. Let's go try it out. So if I'm using the controller and I pick up an item, a tooltip should never show up. All right, so I start a new game. Oh, wait, I shouldn't have done that. I should have loaded the game. There. Okay, so now we pick this up and we just wait. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I don't think anything shows up. Good. Now we pick it up with the mouse. Oh wait, no, now we need to wait 7 seconds because we just used the controller. Okay, I think it's been 7 seconds. So now I pick it up with the mouse and wait 5 seconds. And now a tooltip should show up. Yes, good, excellent. Okay, so we can confound this very easily. I could click this and then move the controller, and now a tooltip will never show up. So it's like, if you do use 2 different input devices, you'll have this weird problem. And I just don't care enough to fix that. But if you're only using the controller, you'll never see that tooltip. And if you do stop and switch to a mouse completely and you wait a long enough time, so now I click, then we'll see that again. Hey, Fred. Like I look like Patrick Star. No, coincidentally, this morning I typed SpongeBob into YouTube because I was like, I kind of want to see some of the old memes. And I'd watch like 2 minutes of a video. And now you mentioned Patrick Star. I know that wasn't the purpose of your message, is to get me to reminisce about SpongeBob. With that said, okay, so I made a dev efficiency course. And before you think course and then have sirens going off in your head, which I can't even type, it's free. So it's all there on YouTube. But it talks a lot about this stuff, or like how I just made this emote without opening up an emote picker, or navigating between windows, etc. So I do suggest checking that out. I even updated it somewhat recently with a Mac OS specific video. So this is not perfect. Yeah, I'll just say see that. Perfect. All right, when we last used the virtual cursor in ticks, this is useful to differentiate physical mouse inputs from virtual mouse inputs when you don't have direct access to an input event. This is really only used, well, at the time of writing, this is only used in one spot. Deciding whether to show the tooltip saying right click to drop when holding an item. Ideally, we would just plumb input events through the system. I don't feel like changing that code. If we find ourselves wanting this, actually, wait a second, this doesn't even need to be public. Yeah, because nothing now uses this outside the class. Yeah, this can be private. And we just change it to last used time like so. Delete this. And move this whole thing up to the top. If we find ourselves wanting, it's actually not really this property, is this property. Cref equals that. In more places, we should probably just refactor the code. Okay, you're my co-working buddy. Glad to be your co-working buddy. Yeah, every once in a while I'll be tackling like a household chore and I'll want to talk to somebody or listen to somebody. And I mentioned this in the past that would be really nice is I have an Android phone and I have Chrome, and Chrome itself has the ability to read pages aloud. I cannot figure this out on my phone. And I just tried this recently. There was a news article posting about this. I'd love to be able to just open up a blog post and be like, read this to me, and then start doing the dishes. And does anyone know how to do this? I ask this like every few months. And as mentioned, it should be possible. And I even found instructions online and I tried running them and the button didn't exist. Hey, Shooter Man. Can you make the properties a Boolean and have 7 encapsulated and consistent? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Well, in that particular case, the 7 has to be greater than 5. 5 is the time to spawn the tooltip. So we could make a like recently used, and this could check for 7, but we need to mention that 7 was very explicitly chosen. But I guess it's fine because if you're going to use a controller, you're going to stick with a controller. So yeah, I think it's a good suggestion, ABC. It's way more interesting than mine. I'm stuck doing web dev stuff. I try to blast through it quickly and then switch to game dev when I can. Yeah, game dev is certainly fun. I think the way that I approach it though is largely like not visually. So you will find game developers who are mostly in the editor doing something, and you can actually see what scene is there. Like here, we don't see anything. Here, you can see something. But yeah, they'll mostly do stuff in here. Why are we talking about me? No, BOOL. Okay, yeah, I like ABC suggestion here. So we can change this to public bool was recently used, and say elapsed time in seconds is less than 7. And then we make a constant out of this. Where do you put constants? I don't know if you put them at the top or not. Public or private double const double time threshold to be considered recently used. To write a comment. Okay, now we use this down here and replace that. And then was recently used should be used instead of this. Yep. Just saw the Bell Valak 36 keys layout, and it's just awesome. I haven't heard of that. How do you, oh man, YouTube chat is so silly. I'm trying to just select the text in your message, and it's popping up a message every time, and none of these are copy message. I just want to take the text in here and write to myself to look into this. Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, I'd like to take a look at that. Hey, Lazy Guru. Yes, it was chosen because 6 was afraid of it. I just did it in 1 minute. You need me in your life. You can select all text on the page and then use triple dot, and there's read aloud. Wait a second. Select all text on the page. So it is. I just open a page and select listen to this page. Don't know what string is used in English, and it works. Didn't need to select anything. Wait a second though. This is, I read about this and I don't have that. Let me go to, I don't know. Let me go to my own blog. adamlearns.com/blog. Okay, so nothing just pops up on my screen as far as like read this to me. I can select all the text though, and then choose read aloud. Let's listen.
All courses, blog, login, register, close menu, self-help, reducing
this
sugar.
is great.
December 25th, 20.
Okay, yeah. I'll definitely need to do this. Where are you seeing that listen to this page thing though? Because I don't have that when I just go to this URL at least. Self-help. I mean, it is self-help. All right, so I'm going to give ABC a point because I'm going to give Xyletics a point. ABC is getting a point for the Boolean suggestion there. But because Xyletics gave me a suggestion on it. Anyway, I'm going to write this down too. The name is Ben Valley. Oh yeah, I figured. I'm familiar with his YouTube channel. All right, now we go fix all this stuff. So this comment technically goes there. This becomes a private. Then this needs to move downward. I sure love this. Hey, JD. Okay, so whether we recently used the virtual cursor. Okay, ideally just pull in input events, but I don't feel like changing that code. If we find ourselves wanting this in more places, we should probably just refactor it. That looks good. This is 7. We need to write a comment for Y. How long before we no longer consider the virtual cursor to have been recently used? This is explicitly chosen to be at least 7 seconds. So that the right click to drop, tooltip considers what, wait a second. No, this isn't important, is it? It could be anything. It could be like 10 or something. So how about this? This should be more than a few seconds so that anything that happens on a delay still considers the action to have taken place from a controller. Setting it to a relatively high number is probably fine though, because most people aren't going to switch from controller back to mouse. And if they do, they shouldn't frequently do it. I'm writing a whole lot of comments for this instead of just refactoring the code. Hey, Happy Chappy. And whatever, I'm I'm fine with this. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we're going to test this one more time and make sure I didn't break anything. I think the code will work. And as mentioned, the only place that even uses this delay action is in picking up an item. So we click here, we click continue, we pick up an item, and we just hold it for a while. And no tooltip should pop up. I really should be counting to 5, so I'm going to hold it forever. But I think it's been 5 seconds now. All right, so now we let go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now it's been 7 seconds. We are no longer considered to have recently used the controller. So when we pick this up, count to 5, 4, 5. A tooltip should pop up. Good. And that's it. That's all we're trying to do. And it's done. So yay. Oh yeah, and if we get rid of this, we can get rid of the virtual cursor altogether. How much of the controller stuff is built in? Oh, it's all built in. Okay, so the reason why we're doing things in this suboptimal way are because we have a whole bunch of buildings in the game, like a warehouse, a shop, whatever else, and these can all hold items, and all of their item displays have an event like clicked, and the event just passes in the item and a Boolean. If we passed in an event, which we could do, there's nothing stopping us. I just don't feel like refactoring everything. If we pass in an event, we'd just be able to check like is physical device, and then that'd be it. So this was me spending like 10 minutes to save 30 minutes. It's really not worth it. Yeah, it's really not worth it. Things are going well. Today's been a good day so far. Yeah. It's just we only do this in one spot in the code. What was I just saying? Oh yeah, about the group. Where is that group? I guess in virtual cursor. So there's a public const string node group. I don't want to set this through the scene. I want to set this through here. So in ready, we're going to say add to group, node group. Or like, yeah. And then the other place where we use virtual cursor, which is over here. There shouldn't be another one of those. Yeah, we can do virtual cursor dot node group. And then delete it from main. Yeah. So revert that, go into the project, click reload, close out of all this stuff just in case. And there's our code. Oh, this is just fix a comment. This is unrelated. Let's check that in on its own. Fix typo in comment. Yeah, the rest of that is actual real code though. Yeah. What does your file tree look like that holds all the scripts? How many individual files do you have? Game source tree. Here is the whole of the scripts that we have. Oh, it still goes up. It looks like we have more than we do because every CS file has to be accompanied by a cs.uid file. So it's actually half of this number. But if we just do this wc, it's probably like 900 files. I don't know why I did things that way. I could just do ff type cs and then pipe that in wc, yes. What? That can't be right. Oh, because it's finding UID files still? Ah, yeah, it is. I don't know how to make that not do that. Maybe put a $sign at the end. Ah, there we go. Okay, now pipe that into WC. Yeah, so about 893 files. That does seem kind of high. I guess we have one for every ability in the game. Yeah. I think it's like largely ability stuff. How long has this project been going on for? Since April of last year. So about a year and we're coming up on 8 months. A year and 8 months. I want to see where in the month we were. I think it was April 17th that we started the GitHub repo for this. Okay, so this is looking good. So what do we do? Allow dropping items via controller. The code to be able to drop the item took a few seconds, but then I updated virtual cursor to, but then I had to prevent the right click to drop tooltip from showing if you'd recently used the virtual cursor. Ideally, we would have just plumbed input events through the system to be able to check the device property to see if it's physical or virtual, but I didn't feel like doing that refactoring. Sorry, I'm gonna try this just one more time because I don't know what else I changed. Oh, the node group, that's right. Okay, yeah, so we gotta test both methods again. This will take like 20 seconds. So we click, we count to 5, 4, 5, a tooltip pops up, good. And then we do this and count to 5, 4, 5, and no tooltip pops up. Good. Okay, yeah, that's it. Done. I did not write the reason why I did that, which I vocalized, I just didn't write it down, which is that if you're using a controller and you want to get an item off of your cursor, I assume you would just press the B button. And if you don't know to press that, you'd probably try all of the buttons and you'd eventually just figure it out. Because at least on a controller, there are fewer things you need to test than on a keyboard. All right, so what am I doing now? So this is done. And now this one I think might be a little difficult. This is because player held item checks if the mouse is held down. I think we just need to involve the virtual cursor and check if it's held at the time. What? So we synthesize a mouse click, either down or up. But then in player held item, we check to see, where is that code? Yeah, right there. We check this here. And this does not consider the virtual cursor. So can I trick this? So here's the issue. We can't just like, I'm going to click and I can't just drag in order to move the item. We're dragging the camera. But if I click with the mouse and drag, we drag the item. So what I wonder if we can do is, can I click with the mouse and, well, hang on, I need to rearrange my hands here for this. Okay, so I can click with the mouse and then, no, I can't then move this because it thinks I'm dragging the camera. What if I click with the mouse and then move it? Yeah, that works. Yeah, so my assumption here is that we need to actually pass a device ID and we can't do that. Huh. There's is joy button pressed and we can pass in a device. You can't pass it in with a mouse though. Where else is device used? Is joy known? Yeah, let's just select every single one of these. So here are all the functions. None of that's probably gonna help unless it's considered a joystick, but I don't think we can do that. Yeah. Anyway, an ad's about to start, so I'll go take my break now, and then we'll come back and try to figure this out. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Oh yeah, by the way, for those on Twitch, you can type join in chat to play this. The instructions are here, but you only have 30 seconds to figure them out. I'll be back in a bit. Hello, hello. And welcome back. By the way, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, if you want to type the same message multiple times, you can type any like random garbage characters after. So like U and then UA or whatever, or B or V, or it doesn't really matter. Hey Stybo. And hey Other Happy. Got my first split keyboard. Was wondering if it was worth the time to invest into it. Did you actually get faster when you switched? I feel like everyone who's super into split keyboards is typing like 80 words per minute. I don't think I got faster, no. So I've done a bunch of videos on this. Whoops, I'm trying to copy your message here. Twitch is weird sometimes. Yeah, so I've done a bunch of videos on this stuff, and I think at least for reasons for switching, I think for some people it's going to be hand strain or pain. It's going to be minimizing movement. It's going to be like it's a cool thing. You can try it out. And maybe typing speed could be on there for some people. But honestly, the way I've always looked at typing speed is if you type slowly, learning how to type is the best thing you can do. The layout doesn't matter as much. The keyboard doesn't matter as much. Oh yeah, sure. Well, if you want to take a look at the video, there's one. And then there's a video linked from this one if you want to learn more than even that. which is, yeah, this one, the keyboard journey. Honestly, I think this video is probably fine. I'd probably look at that. But I switched from QWERTY to Colmac, and my QWERTY typing speed was already pretty fast. And now it's been 2 years. I don't remember when I started learning Colmac. 3 years. And I'd say my Colmac speed is still slower than my QWERTY speed. It's just, there's so much muscle memory. It's like if you type a word maybe 10 times, you'll probably eventually kind of just memorize how to type it through your fingers almost. And just typing some words 10 times takes longer than 3 years. Like, how often do you type the word localization or something like that? And maybe you type it frequently enough and then, okay, fine, it's in your muscle memory. But then, yeah, what about some other word that pops up? I was typing Phoenix a lot the other day, but I, prior to that, had not typed Phoenix on this keyboard probably at all. Unless you're talking about Arizona or you're talking about mythology, it's probably not going to come up. Okay, so I assume that I can't just use one of these things. Can we somehow detect that the mouse is pressed? Let me look this up over here. Mouse. What's the virtual device called? Input device. Yeah, device ID emulation. Check for mouse. I don't know. Hey, full box. When did you paint it? Right before that message, so I wasn't lying about it. How'd the stream go? Still struggling to get rid of gamer WSD muscle memory? I don't think that's necessarily bad to get rid of. Or like something worth getting rid of. I think it's fine to do that. Also, I think if you're gaming and typing at the same time, it's a slightly different pattern from if you're just typing. And it's worth considering how often you do that. Because they sell those like gaming left-hand keyboards. Where are those? Yeah, like this. It's like half a keyboard. This is what you would be buying. You cannot type every letter on this. And for gaming, if all you're doing is gaming, this is probably perfect. Yeah, you'd want something like this or like this. But if you're also going to be typing, which a lot of people do, you're going to end up needing a keyboard on your desk in addition to the left-handed keyboard you have. So yeah, you got to consider that stuff. Okay, very excited. Nice, nice, nice. Got to get my kids to use Colmac from day one. Well, that's the thing, right? They would have minimized their finger motion, I guess, which is maybe worthwhile, but their typing speed probably wouldn't be greater than it would have been with QWERTY. Now, with that said, if you ever watch me type something, like if you watch my hands as I use my computer, I switch between windows, I close tabs, I do any of this stuff, there's hardly any movement. I think that is kind of cool. And it doesn't really matter what I'm typing, because how could there be movement if these are all the keys? It's like I don't need to move to get to them. So yeah, I like that idea. Anyway, let's go back to this. I want to see, where did I close that? I did close that tab, I think. All right, mouse. And then is this still on my clipboard? It is, yeah. Oh, there's 0 issues. Uh-oh. All right, what if I search for it like so? Setting an input device to all devices sets it to -1. Button is not pressed. This is not what I want. Okay, I don't think there's a way to do this like how I thought might be easiest. All right, let me try something. Let me get this working in kind of a silly way first. So public bool is, I don't know, let's just say like testeroni here. Get private set. This is going to be false by default. And then when you click, we're going to set this to true and then set it to false when you release. And then inside player held item, we're going to check to see if this is true and you've recently used it. Started dragging. Oh no, where's that come from? Oh no. Oh no. Oh God. Is this done? I don't even know. Let's take a look. So if I click this, does that breakpoint get hit? It does. Okay, that's good. So it knows that the mouse is pressed. Looked into why we had this keyboard layout of today, and as always, goes back to cartel. What? I might have missed something. I still don't understand how you navigate like that. My brain can't process it. Have you ever tried Vim? Because I think with Vim, you have almost like a modal memory as you approach it. Like when you press I, you now are aware, okay, I'm in input mode. and then you act accordingly, and then you press escape or the control bracket or whatever. Now you're in, I don't know, whatever the main mode is called, command mode or something. I think you do the same thing with this keyboard. Like I hold this key and now I know I'm going to type numbers. So when I type numbers, I'm not surprised, and I let go and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to type letters again. Okay, so this is being hit. That's what I want. And now I need to figure out from up here in this mouse button thing is held, if it's a mouse motion and mouse button is held and started dragging. So this just changes to this or virtual cursor.testeroni. And then we try running that. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, let's try it and see. Oops, I clicked wrong. Oh, nice. It did work. Okay, so we should be able to drag this right onto a thing like the garbage slime. So let's build this. Let's save that so I don't need to build it every time. And let's drag this down to there. Nice. But if I drag that again from here, it should drag the camera this time because there's no item there. Good. And then if I click and let go, I should still be able to drop it over here. Yeah, nice. Okay, so that's the simplest implementation. So it's probably what we should use, and just rename Testeroni to something like is mouse held, and then write something here about, where is that? This is going to be like this. Pretty much the same as this, but for the virtual cursor. Nah, leave it Testeroni. All right, nice. I think that's fine. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's a pretty simple change. We manifest a Boolean here. Where is it? Then we set it appropriately. And then we check it here. Yeah, all right. It's pretty reasonable. Allow dragging items with controller. You can now click and hold. Yeah, I guess so. Using the controller rather than having to click release, then do the same at the destination. Yeah. All right, so that's finished now too. When the player clicks, you move the cursor. If they have, okay, let's write that as a consideration, I guess. Yeah, consideration. Okay, so I'd like to just try the game, and I kind of want to see how annoying is it to play entirely with a controller. So let's start right from the settings menu. We're going to turn the sound up. Any of these things need to be changed? No. All right, so I start a new game. Oh, wait, no, I got to have the tutorial going. Hang on, quit. How do I not skip the tutorial? Skip tutorial. Let's just turn off debug. Yeah, false. And yeah, that's good. Okay. So again, we're going to try this whole thing with controller. I'm not going to like hold this in front of that screen the whole time. But yeah. Because I'll just play how it's comfortable for me. And I just want to see, where do we run into problems? So this is the intro. We're going to skip this. There's no sound for that. I wonder why. All right, I've got the line for Skeleton, but I need adventurers to do battle for me. If only I had a guild. Look around. Well, would you look at that? It's a guild sign. All right, so this is all pretty straightforward. I'm not actually trying to read tooltips. I'm just making sure that they're popping up, and they are. Oh, and I could have just pressed A right there. Oh yeah, you can almost see the controller. I can hold it like this. All right, so now there's nothing to do. This is when a new player would be like, oh, they fight automatically. Oh, would you look at that? But I already know this, so I'm just waiting. But you could click an apple, for example, which is much harder on controller. So one thing that we will be able to do that we can't do now is zoom in with a controller. So that is something that's lacking, but that's going to be done via PR. Oh, and I can just move the camera like this. That's pretty nice. Yeah. I might want camera acceleration for that. Yeah, so this is probably going to be annoying for players to have to click this all the time. I mean, you unlock auto battling pretty early on, but it's less annoying with mouse to hit a button. So I can drag this over here. Nice. All right, so we have enough to build the town hall. Let's go build that. Oh, I can just press A on that. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so now we can get the garbage slime, which we will do so we can feed it a tasty item. Yeah, pretty cool. And now I can unlock auto battling. Hey Tim, how's it going? I dropped into your stream briefly as you were downloading a Linux build 14 times this morning. Oh, hey, thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome in, everyone. Hey, Joss. We're testing controller support. So I'm actually playing Scalaseller with a controller and just trying to see where are the frustrations. And it's going pretty well. I mean, clicking things is a little bit tough because it's a virtual cursor. But, yeah. All right, so we have auto battling going. We don't even really need to do anything. If like, it is kind of an idle game, so I could just sit here and let the worker move the potion. But yeah, this is what we've been working on for the last couple days. It's what you'd pretty much expect. You can point at things, you can click them, you can see the tooltips on them. You can click any of the menu items. Twitch was slow on that raid button. Yeah. So the builds I saw you uploading in Itch, are those now publicly available? Can I try your game? And do you want me to try your game? Not on stream, but if I find some time off stream. We're trying to get to 35 gold, by the way, over here. So we're just going to leave that dialogue open. Actually, if I click in the background, yeah. All right, so I want that. I need 3 more gold. So I should have taken that potion from the skeleton. Trying to wrap demo progression, then it will be. Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah. Very neat. Very, very neat. All right, I hired the rogue. So now we can send them into battle. Nice. Maybe there should be a tip about using controller. Like you can still press A on dialogues. Can you implement some kind of magnetism toward NPCs or buildings that are not surrounded by many items? I could do something like that. I'm just not sure if it's a good idea. I think that's where zooming might be helpful. But yeah, I want to hear what feedback is. I suspect people are probably going to want that. Especially when you're kind of close to something, but not close enough. And we detect that you clicked with... Actually, I'm not sure how we'd even do that. Yeah, I'm not sure how we would implement it. People may want magnetic controls where they can point near something, but not on it. I'm not totally sure how we'd even detect that you're near something. Or tab targeting. Yeah, so tab targeting is what I kind of wanted to avoid. Because we need custom controls for like everything. So you need the tab targeting to go over to the buttons and then over to the items in the scene. And same thing when you open up the adventures tab. It's like all these skills you need to be able to go over to. You want the tooltips to show as you go to them. So this virtual cursor was done because it is kind of the easiest way for us to do this stuff. All right, let's unlock this new place and send our adventurers there. I think you can at least get used to this, which is nice. I think before this, it would have been a lot harder to use this. But it's not as great as mouse and keyboard. And I don't think things are going to top that. On a Steam Deck or a Steam controller, you'll have the touchpads, which might be a little bit easier. I want to try that myself at some point. I have a Steam Deck. I just need to actually try it. Did I just go to the wrong location? Yes, I did. I meant to click this. There. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I've tried a bunch of this so far. I think this is pretty good. Wonder how it will feel if tab targeting is activated when you flick the analog quick, but if you hold it like Oh, it'll hover like now. So one of the things, yeah, I think it'd be hard to imagine, but one of the things it's done right now is, why did my cursor change? Oh, that's weird. One of the things it's done right now is there's acceleration. So if I hold up, you can see it's moving. Well, it's probably not super obvious, but it moves slowly at first and then goes up faster. And if I just like tap up, it's gonna move a little bit slower. That's just based on how much the analog stick is pressed. But as a result, you can kind of like nudge all the way to this side to move just a few pixels if you want. So that lets you get kind of fine-grained control within a certain pointing distance. And yeah, it takes some getting used to for this. But it's not too bad. Like, this is pretty usable. Sure, I'd be much faster at that with a mouse and keyboard. Like, if I do the same... Oh, I'm not on a debug build, so I can't. But, like, if I do this... That's all very natural on a mouse. Anyway, okay, cool. So, pressing B isn't doing anything. That is not good. Yeah, that's not good. Why is that happening? Can you throw items? There are large drop zones for items. So, like, if I click here and then click here, it will throw it to the destination. Yeah. So, okay. Let's take a look at why the B button isn't working. Now it's working. So I'm guessing when you're holding an item, it stops working? Yeah. All right, so there's a bug there. Bug, hold item, press B. It drops it, but then pressing B is absorbed by something that isn't the game menu. Oh, I know why that's happening. Because in player held item, when we check for UI cancel, we don't check to see if you're holding an item. And is holding item. There. That's it. That's all we need to do. Shouldn't town have done this as well and not handled input? Huh, interesting. I guess there's nothing else you need to right click for, but there is something you need to right click for when you're holding an item. Okay, that should fix this. Let's try it out. So we need any item that I can click. Ah, good, perfect. All right, so I press B again, it goes to the settings, perfect. That's what I want. All right, so fix bug with UI cancel from controller. Player held item was absorbing this even when you weren't holding an item. Meaning you couldn't open the game settings for now, which probably won't eventually be on UI cancel exactly. Let's do that. Yeah. All right, that's it. That was a one change. Whoops. Did I just check that in? Let's take a look at diff last commit. No, perfect. Okay. Let's turn off the sound. And let's look at the to-do list. So need to change all of this. That's fine. We will do that. Look through this issue again. I don't think there's anything in here we haven't covered. That's going to be important. We got to do this after the PR. Yeah, we got to do this after the PR. Remove or set this appropriately. What else is in this issue? Yeah. Make sure Steam and itch listings indicate that we have controller support. Okay, there's still a lot to do here. All right, never mind. I'm gonna put this whole issue post PR. The controller stuff now that remapping is possible. We're gonna get to that PR today, I think. I don't see why we wouldn't. So I'll delete that. Add sensitivity options to the settings. This is probably something I'm gonna ask Kevin to do. Add controller sensitivity options to the game settings. So where is this code right now? Virtual cursor. Virtual cursor.cs defines a few properties that we should expose to players through the settings menu. The only issue is that our settings menu is starting to get cluttered. I wonder if we should paginate this somehow. Probably, well, well, no, I don't know. Let's leave it at that. Okay, great. So I'll write this down on my list. Talk to Kevin about doing this issue. All right, so that's handled. Test on Steam Deck. See how virtual cursor works through the demo. Does Steam try taking over? Mark on Steam that we have partial controller support. That's done over here, isn't it? Yeah. How do you do that on Steam? Or what does it look like? Like, do we mention controller support on here? I don't see anything. I see Steam Deck compatibility. Does this mention controller? No. What about a game that does, like Enter the Gungeon? Steam. Wow, save 70%. Full controller support. Xbox controllers, support for other devices is not known. What's a game that has partial controller support? How would you even search for that? What does Stardew Valley do? Full controller support. Okay, I don't know. Yeah. Hey, Sadiq. After finishing this game, do you have an idea what the next one will be? Yeah, I've got a couple of ideas. People have asked me about this a decent amount, and I'll say a couple things. One is that I'm not fully sharing the ideas yet. And two is I don't think we'll finish this cleanly and then move on immediately. Like, I think what's going to happen is we launch, we work on getting sales, and then we support the game for that time. And then after some amount of time, we determine, okay, maybe things are slowing. Yeah, let's move on to another game. Or I don't know, things are so successful that I just hire a team to maintain Skeleseller and I move on to something else. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be like March, whatever, launch, April 1st, move on to another game. So yeah, I think there's some amount of support we got to do. Why did Korean change over here? What happened? Huh. If I made a manual change, I would have checked it in. And this looks like a manual change that I made, and it looks like it's correct. I don't know why I didn't check it in. Fix Korean formatting. Not totally sure why this popped up right now, since I don't recall making this change. Step 1, release game. Step 2, get depressed. Step 3, make new game. I do have a plan to make a new game. I hope the get depressed part doesn't happen. I still check the Block Shop Steam page every once in a while. And yeah, I see that it's still at 100% positive reviews. And it's kind of a shame because it's like, yeah, why doesn't Steam push it more? And probably it's because it knew the general like impressions to sales metrics, and it's just a shame. Wolfenstein: The New Order. Okay, let's go take a look at that. And thanks, Sadiq. Yeah. Okay, I'll look at this off screen because it says some nudity or sexual content. We don't show that on this stream. I just wanted to look at this. Yeah, so this is family friendly. This says partial controller support. Huh. Yeah, huh. Okay. Okay. Hey, Blork. Yeah, so I think we're pretty good. I think I'm going to do this cleanup thing and then wrapping up, test on Steam Deck. How do I do this? Did I have some way of doing this? Did I write a note on this or something? Steam Deck. Haven't looked into this yet, so I just export the Linux build and upload to a password. Oh, neat. Okay, that's not that bad. I didn't remember that I even could do that. Still, I don't think I want to do this on stream. Maybe I'll try this tomorrow. Yeah. I'll do this tomorrow afternoon. So, finish controller stuff. I don't even really need to push a playtest version. Look at steamdeck.md for how I do this. Steam input. Cool. All right, in considerations, I guess we're just going to leave this for later. Yeah, which I suppose should just be in here then, huh? Don't we have it under ideas? Great. Look at that. At least this to-do list isn't lasting forever like the other one did. I can make another tab too for to-do archive. I meant to type that into the tab thing over here. And then we can just put every single task here, except for this, which we're about to go tackle. So every input is action just pressed needs to change. And we have 27 results. This isn't too bad. And I think they're all going to be mechanical, but I do want to take a look at this. So cheats menu, we should be able to generically change them all like so. Is action pressed instead of input dot is action just pressed. So let's go try this. I'm no longer on a tutorial build because I got rid of that in the fake feature flags thing. So I just have to start a game and then I press K on the keyboard, which is also on my mouse. And yeah, looks good. Okay. So yeah, let's change them all. UI cancel an intro. Oh, interesting. I didn't even realize I could do that. Huh. You could just press B to skip the intro. It doesn't make a sound when you do that, though. I really should have that. Do I have that written down somewhere? Intro. Sound. No, I don't. All right, we should probably file a bug on that. Allow sounds to work during the intro or skip. I'm more concerned with people using a controller and pressing UI cancel without realizing that they're going to skip the intro. Yeah. Well, not more concerned. I'm concerned with people using a controller and pressing this. Mouse users will realize that they're clicking the skip button. All right, that's fine. Okay, so what do we have here? UI user. I'm just going to change pretty much all of these, and then we'll see if there's any fallout from doing this. I just need to make sure that event exists in all these cases, and so far, yes. But that's not a guarantee. Whoops. Okay, well, I did not expect that to be a thing. Cool, that's everything. All right, so it should build. There shouldn't be a problem there. But then do all of these things work? And I would like to go test some of these. It should be pretty easy to test pretty much all of them. So let's take a look at what we did. Cheats, debug menu. I don't care about either of these. These are dev things. If they're broken, it's only affecting devs. Intro is a little bit hard to test, so let's skip that one for now. Player held item is just for the quick move menu. Okay, let's go try that. Hey, Mars. Good afternoon. All right, so we need to unlock the quick move menu, and then we need to turn it off. And then we need to find an item and click it, and then press shift in the middle of clicking it. Yeah, that worked. Okay. Next up are these game settings menu, and you press cancel or accept. All right, so I just press escape or I press enter. Oh no, over here. I press escape or I press enter. Both of those seem to work. So if I press escape, it should say if I can undo. And if I press enter, it should save. Oh, you can't press enter on an input. Okay. Oh, now I can't get it out of the input. There we go. Okay, I don't really care about that. I don't think people are going to be confused by that. In-game menu, what is this? This is just pressing escape, which I think I already tried. Yep. Then what do we have here? Title screen. Press escape and it opens the settings. Yep, good. All right, town menu, you press B and it opens buildings as long as you're not in challenge mode. Cool. Dialog box, we click and press escape. We click and press enter. Good. Panel tab container, you press escape to close it. So I click this and press escape. Sounds good. Game credits menu. I don't even really care to test this, but fine. Yeah, that's working. Overlay visibility controller. Okay, so these are all the buttons that we have for the different tabs. T for adventures, M for battle map, P for perks, and then Q and E to switch between the different perks. That's working. And then over in challenge mode, bone mode, we start a new scenario. And now over here we have T for town. No, P for, no, how do you access it? Oh, F1 through F4. Right, so F1, F2, F3, F4. Yeah, and Q and E should move between those. Yeah, perfect. Good, good, good. It's probably not worth testing the rest of these. I'm assuming everything is just working fine. Item action menu. Do I have that by default in challenge mode? I don't remember. Yes, and yes, that's working. Good. Meta perks tab container, a new challenge run screen. I can press escape and I can press Q and E. Looks good. Nice, nice, nice. That's everything. Okay, good. So fix broken event handling. I changed this to event is action pressed. I hadn't realized that you weren't supposed to use the first formulation or the first style from unhandled input, and it caused an issue. Oh, I don't remember where though. Where is this controller support? There. I did something on Friday, so we shouldn't have to look back very far to find this. Add virtual cursor. It must have been this. And there must have been something that I changed that already existed, but this doesn't show anything in there. Oh, is this? Why did that break? Oh, we got a million events. That's right. And I got to write a note about that. Did I have a note about that already? Godot UI virtual mouse? I didn't. Is action just press? No, we don't talk about that. Okay, let's write a note about this. I don't know how to find it. Is action just pressed? Careful using is action just pressed in the input function. Oh, man. Yeah, but where do they talk about this in the documentation? That's what I want to find. Input. Here it is. Yeah. So I'll write this here. Don't use is input action just pressed. That was called? Is action just pressed, not is input action. But it comes from input, yeah. From input or unhandled input, it can cause unusual issues like this. This being Godot issue where they talked about mouse and is action just pressed, I think. And there's a closed issue on this. No, where is it? I don't recall where I found this, but this is the problem with Godot using GDScript first and C# second, is that you have to search in snake case as well. And then you can potentially find these things. This must be the issue. And then someone mentioned don't do that. Yeah. Like this. There. Okay. Cool. See this issue for what prompted this. And I already looked through all this, but let me just make sure I didn't do anything else that shouldn't be checked in here. It should all just be action changes on events. Yep. Okay. The translation thing at the bottom doesn't actually get checked in. Oh, wait, yes, it did. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. It kind of matters. Fine, I'll undo that. Undo last commit. I want everything short of those changes. There. And that is it. We have marked all of our tasks as finished. So I'll say completed everything today. We have not solicited feedback though. So people may want changes to the current controller support. All right, there we have it. So I can go merge this branch. Let's also check this in, I guess. Use different update translations. Push, go to GitHub, start a PR. Add virtual cursor. This generally addresses this one, number 89. But there are still some tasks in that issue that need to be tackled. So I'm not closing it yet. It adds a virtual cursor that you can control via the... Carson, thanks for the resub. Happy 5/6 of a year. Welcome back. Control via a controller. And then what else did I want to write? The documentation that I added on this. Where did that go? Yeah. I designed and maintained a to-do list in this document. Create. All right. There's also one or two unrelated changes. And it looks like I touched more than I did because I changed all those events. But yeah, I think this is good. So let's go merge this. "100% playing the game on my TV now with controller." Okay, just to be clear, so that you don't get your hopes too high for this, let me switch back to main for a sec. And then let's restart this. No, there's controller support. It's just, it's done via a virtual cursor, which I think makes sense for Skeleseller. And I would actually like feedback on this stuff when people have it in their hands. Not necessarily from the stream, but if you if you end up playing the game. But I'll show you what it feels or what it looks like. All right, so you can now move one of the sticks, and you'll eventually be able to rebind this, I think. But yeah, you can move a stick, and you can click, and that's it. That's pretty much how this works. So yeah, you can. There's also some things like you can press A on a dialogue to accept and B to close it. But yeah, in general, you're gonna, and there's a camera control with the other stick, I guess. So it's not nothing, but it's very much like you're emulating a mouse. Yeah. So if you're okay with that, then yeah, that's fine. And then eventually we can have other buttons to like open the battle map or something. I don't have that now, but you can click these things. And then, like I said, you can just press A over here and it'll start the battle. Did that work? I think it tried starting 2 battles. I think I pressed A really fast twice. No, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Huh. But yeah, so it's not bad. It works. You can still play the game. You can do everything. And given that it's a laid back idle game anyway, you could just never touch anything and you'd still win. You just need auto battling, which we'll go get there. And then you do this and there. Now you can just step away from your computer and come back and you've beaten the game. And you save $15 well spent. Indeed. Indubitably. Oh. Okay, so what time is it? 11:12. We're actually probably getting to a pretty good stopping point, at least for the morning stream. What's this doing? Add missing UID file. I'll just check that in and push that. Uncontroversial. So controller support, pretty much done. Make a calendar reminder to use the rest of my premium credits. I'll do that tomorrow. Probably need to take time away from development. So once we have localization and new playtesters, I should start, or I should focus on marketing and content creation again. Is that written down here? Yeah, pick up marketing again. I think it's fine. But I do want to spend some time on content creation. Content creation, at least video scripts, if I can actually record. All right. Yeah, the quick move menu is definitely going to be nice. In fact, I almost wonder if I should just give that out for free or for cheaper. I think this would be the perfect game to be able to control the brainwaves. Hey, Axel. All right, I want to announce this event again. I want to announce this pretty much every day. Jitspo is doing an event this Saturday for indie devs. He solicited a bunch of people to send in 15-second trailers and got like 100 something of them. And Skeleseller's on this list somewhere. Yeah, it's at roughly the maybe 70-60% of the way through the video. So after like an hour of other people's trailers, you'll see the Skeleseller one for 15 seconds. It's the same one that I uploaded to Blue Sky. I only did this because of Jitspo's event. So I like that it prompted me to make a shorter trailer. Let me turn this down. There we go. But yeah, this is the 15-second trailer. So this is what you'll be seeing. But it's more a community event and getting other people to see games that everyone's been working on. And if you find anything that's interesting, hey, you can go to the Steam page or something and wishlist it. Hey, Goose. So yeah, let's fill out the journal for this morning. That was super fast. This is never that fast. Huh, I wonder if they added some improvement. Look at how fast it's adding in new rows and putting the date in. That's pretty cool. It was never that fast before. Finished the basic controller support. The virtual cursor. Yeah. I think YouTube Shorts are working pretty well. Are you planning on making some for the game when it releases? So here's the general plan. And this is kind of on the roadmap here, I guess, so I can just share this. But the general plan is we got this kind of done. Anyway, localization, we've also kind of gotten done. Controller support, we've kind of gotten done. So I have a few more game things we have to finish up. But then almost everything we want to do after that is sort of outside of the game. So marketing for sure. Getting a new trailer, which is kind of part of marketing. Achievements are part of the game, I guess, but I don't think that's going to be very difficult, hopefully. But who knows, maybe I'm massively underestimating that. And then, yeah, any polish that we can do. So yeah, a decent chunk of my time is going to be spent doing like outreach, marketing, all that sort of thing. Also, if anyone here speaks one of these languages right here, French, Italian, German, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Brazilian Portuguese, I could really use some help with translations. I'm looking for volunteers. Excuse me. The thing that I'm looking for is we've got all of the Scala Seller strings now in a tool, and Hideo actually started translating French, so we're at 16% complete there. And yeah, any amount of work is good. So if you just click translate over here, like let's say you speak German, you can look at what the English is right now and what the German is written as. And if this is already good, you just click this checkbox and you click save and you're done. And if it's not good, you type in a different word. And if you're like, that's it, I just want to translate one word, that's totally fine. So yeah, anyone who could potentially help out with this, I am definitely looking for some volunteers for that stuff. If I had, you know, a successful game under my belt, I think I'd be willing to pay official translators for this, but it's very costly. I could do some German. All right, I will write that down. I think I have, where did I write this down? I wrote down people's offers somewhere. Oh, probably my localization document. Where is that? Where did I write that? Apparently in here. Offers. Noise. German. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of German suggestions. In fact, that's the only language I've gotten suggestions for or offers for. Because we don't translate to Danish or Dutch. I mean, I guess I've gotten offers for those, but I just don't plan on using those offers. But yeah, I should reach out to people. In fact, I should write that tomorrow too. Reach out to volunteer translators. Oh, did I push? Git push. This probably won't work, will it? No. I think this is still wrong on the site. Let me take a look at that. English search snake bite. Yeah, this should not be there. Git log. Oh, I never generated the new files. I mean, either way, I should do a git checkout main, I think. But then how do I fix this again? I wrote this somewhere. I don't remember. All right, let's get this commit so I don't lose this. I forgot what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, that got deleted. If you want to keep it by creating new branch, this may be a good time. Okay, let's do that. Fix formatting. All right, so now I should be on this new branch, right? I'm not. Git checkout fix formatting. Git status of this is fine. Git log -1 should show the fixed formatting. Get push. So now we go to Scala Seller translations and merge that. Yeah, I'd love to not have to do this. Cool. Okay, but there was a bigger problem here, which is that I now need to, so let's check out main again and pull and then run generate. And this will get rid of snakebite. Only was that easy in real life. Let's take a look. So snakebite is now gone and some line numbers changed. Did this break any formatting in Korea? Oh my God. Okay, well, there are so many lines that changed, and yeah, it might have done something here. Let's see if I can find what this modified. So I'll search for this text. Is that the broken text or the fixed text? Slash quotation mark, quotation mark. into a new line. It seems like it just rearranged it completely. Oh man, I think I'm fighting two different formatters here. Oh man. Yeah, I don't like this. And some of these strings actually look like they changed, although they apparently didn't really. Let's try checking this in. Generate new translations. Just see what happens. So now I go over to here and do a git push. That doesn't sound good. That definitely doesn't sound good. Oh God, what am I doing? All right, what's it complaining about? Divergent branches. Didn't I pull before making this change? Git. Okay, let's just do this, I suppose. This is probably not a good idea. Resolve conflicts manually. It's just in French. Okay, let me see. I generated new POT files today. That's here. The last PO revision should be... I mean, I didn't technically modify. I mean, I guess we could just accept this. No, wait, no, that's wrong. I want the incoming change, I think. I guess I don't really care too much about the last revision, although that might matter. Oh, this caused errors everywhere. Oh man. But just in changing the C# format? Oh, this is really bad. Yeah, this is really bad. I think I've made a mistake. I don't think we should merge this. I think I should undo everything. Git rebase -- abort. And then just stop all of this stuff. Git log -1. Yeah, I want to undo that, I think. Because this is the thing that had all these changes from fuzzy changing. Yeah. All right, so just go back to there. Check out this. Or hang on, maybe it's better to just look at what I have over here. Oh wait, is Hideo translating stuff like right this second? Oh, if he is, then that explains why this is happening. How do I find this out? Recent changes 26 minutes ago. Huh. Okay. So how do I fix this? I want to be on 1992 or whatever. Can I just check out main and not do whatever I was doing? I know how these could have diverged, but they shouldn't have been able. Oh. No, that's just for Korean. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I don't understand how this could have been a big problem then. There shouldn't be any major change here. Oh, this is turning into a problem though. What I don't get is what thinks these still should have been fuzzy? Generate new translations? Where did it even come from? Parent of that? Let's just go to that commit. It doesn't exist. What am I doing? What's going on? I think I just want to reject whatever I have. I got to figure out how to do that. Yeah. So I must have a commit that I haven't pushed. Yeah, I want to undo that. Whoops. I have an undo last commit. Get undo last commit. Actually, what am I doing? I just do this through here. Undo last commit. Yeah, this. Okay, my bad. I didn't realize I had that there. Okay, this should not be very hard to do then. So we just revert everything and then sync. And then we change. Yeah. Okay. I did not realize what I was. Hey, Hideo. Whoops. Okay, so now what I want to do is, why is this not getting out of this thing? Okay, now what I want to do is try a poll. Poll shouldn't do anything at all whatsoever. Good. And then I generate the new translations. And yeah, hopefully this doesn't generate a whole bunch of problems for me. It changed the format on all of these. We got rid of something that unfortunately was already translated, which I meant to get rid of that earlier. These are just tiny formatting changes. I'd love for the fuzzy to still go after C# format. I wonder if we can configure that somehow, because that way we wouldn't get like a million modified lines. We'd see very little that's changed. Because Weblate's putting it in one place and our generate thing is putting it in another. And I don't know if that's even a setting we can control. Yeah, I don't know if we can. Xget text. Xget text, change where fuzzy. Change fuzzy ordering. I don't think this is going to help. Because I also don't think the ordering matters. I just don't want them to pick two different orderings. Omit header. Don't write header with message. No, that's a header at the very top of the file. This whole thing. I just want to change the order that fuzzy gets emitted. And like I said, the ordering doesn't matter for the tool, either tool, but it matters for diffing being annoying. And yeah, I don't know if we can change that. Properties output? No. That sounded like it might have been close. Sort output? Deprecated? Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, I don't see a way to change that. Join existing. I think that's what we're using, right? No, we explicitly said not to join existing. I probably wrote about that somewhere. Yeah. I don't know what to do about this. I don't want to write a tool that just like swaps the order of these. But what Weblate is outputting is different from what we're outputting. Weblate wants to put fuzzy second. I don't know what fuzzy is in this tool, but there's a clear fuzzy. So fuzzy is what the UI shows as needs editing. When fuzzy exists in the file, this checkbox is checked. So all the strings you translated no longer have fuzzy set. So if we look through byte, I think was one of them. Yeah. So like this doesn't have fuzzy here because it's been translated. And if I cleared fuzzy, it would indicate that every single one of these strings has been translated, which they haven't been. Well, they were by AI, I guess. It's just not sorted. Well, it's sorted differently. That's all. So it's like we have, you know, flag 1, flag 2, and this is our xget text doing this, and then weblate does it in the opposite order of flag 2, flag 1. They're both fine. It's just I don't want the diff to be polluted. Hey, dig it. Oh, sorted as in you mean like in a standard order? I was gonna say yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what we do about this because it doesn't seem like xget text. I guess we can search the weblate side of things. So like fuzzy comment in wrong order. It's not even the wrong order. I just want it to be in a different order. Wrong state of strings imported. Can highlight changes. Marked fuzzy. I don't see anything about ordering in here. Change comment order. Modifying comments. How to specify ordered variables. We're so close to what I want. Make alphabetic sorting optional. Yeah, the only thing I can think to do is go through every single one of these and just change them. And it's not even that hard to do. I guess we could just make a regex right now and do it. We don't even need a special tool. We just search for this. Oh, we do need a regex, I guess, because we need a caret and a $sign. And we replace it with fuzzy first. Wait, I'm doing this backwards. Yeah. So I want to find fuzzy and then C# format. Okay. And then we just click the button and it'll replace like 700 things. Replace. Okay, let me write this down because this is a mess. Fuzzy comment ordering. So replace this with this. I could write a command to do this. But yeah, the weblate outputs fuzzy strings with what order? Weblate does it with fuzzy second. However, xgetText generates it in the opposite order. To prevent polluting the diffs, I just use VS Code to find / replace that with that. Yeah. Okay, so now what are the actual changes? Because now they should be incredibly minimal, right? And yet they don't look minimal. We have a whole bunch of stuff here. So this is fine. The creation date got updated. We did delete a translation here. This should never have made it in the file. Some line numbers will have changed. That's all correct. I don't mind any of that. If that's what we see for pretty much all of these files, then we're good. So yeah, deleted snakebite, that's fine. So this is the other change that happens, which is that xgetText and weblate don't agree on how many characters should be here. This one has, how many characters is that? This has 78 and this has 70. And there's some reason why it wraps where it does. Wrap. Where's the localization? Where's the xgetText stuff? Here. Wrap. No wrap. Do not break long message lines. Message lines whose width exceeds the output page width. What's the output page width? Width. There it is. Set output page width. Long strings in the output file will be split across multiple lines. Okay. We need to set this to whatever weblate uses. I wonder if we can find out what weblate uses. I guess I could just keep regenerating with a different number until we find that there are no diffs. But there's probably a better way to do that. Oh, what is it by default? Does it not tell you? Doesn't tell you. I mean, we could just look at the lines in here and see which one is longest. So on the right, we now have the X get text one, which is smaller than WebLate. So whatever the default is, we need to increase it. Get text default width. Search PO line wrap. 77. What does this use? What do I search for a 7? No, there's no 7 on this page. It's got to be 70 something. And thanks for finding that, Hideo. Is there, can you look at the source code? This is not the one that everybody uses. In fact, I'm not even sure why this exists, but I wonder what they use as their default width. It's probably not worth searching for because it doesn't matter. I should just look through what our strings actually ended up being. So yeah, let's open up scripts FR and just see what the longest line is. This is 78. What? Are they choosing different characters to break on? Is that what's happening? Because yeah, here a D apostrophe got moved to the next line. Maybe that's what's really changing. Oh, that'd be a pain if that were true. Is that happening everywhere? It's happening there. Oh no. It's happening there too. Maybe we can just change what word wrap characters are being used. Yeah, it's happening everywhere. So then it shouldn't be happening in Italian or something because I didn't change any Italian. What? Line 993. This is 74 characters. What did this change to? After Oro, it's on a new line in the new one. It's like breaking weirdly. I know it shows at a parenthesis to start a new line because it otherwise wouldn't be able to fit this many characters. But that's fine. That's only at 56. So I don't think this is a width problem. I think this is a like which wrapping characters they use. What do they call that? Output page width, long strings will be split across multiple lines. Can we search for split? No. Characters? Oh man, no. Do they have anything in here about which characters wrap or cause it to break? Line breaks? I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if we should just disable wrapping then. Yeah, we could do -1 and disable it. And then presumably both tools would be the same. I wonder if there's any problem with that though. Like why is wrapping at 77 by default? Wouldn't wrapping only in new lines work? Excuse me, I think so, yeah. Although so would just not having line wrapping at all. In fact, let's try that out. Program. Width equals -1. Disable line wrapping. Yeah, I know they give you a command for that, the 65535. They also have no wrap. But presumably, well, actually, I don't know for sure. Does not break long message lines. Who sees Diablo with will not be split into several lines. Only file reference lines are wider than the output. All right, so this might not actually do anything. And it doesn't do anything. I'll just use no wrap. I don't know if they have a shortcut of -1 here. It might just break everything. Who knows? All right, so -1 doesn't do anything. So yeah, we have to just use no wrap. No wrap. Disable line wrapping so that Weblate's output will match xget text. All right, now we run that again. And now we look at one of these files. This does not look correct. Yeah, no, this definitely doesn't look correct. Because if I'm not mistaken now, it should all be on one line, and it's definitely not. Maybe it doesn't work when you're merging these, and if I generated them anew, it would be fine. Or maybe I have a different thing here trying to wrap it. These are all keywords, so those don't matter. This doesn't matter. No. Yeah, I don't know. Do we have any other width thing being specified? No. And did I specify that correctly? No dash wrap, yeah. Well, let's try something just for laughs here to make sure I'm actually testing something correctly. Width equals 5, let's say, or 20, I don't know. Does that change anything? No. So whatever I'm doing is not even modifying stuff. Strange. Or I'm specifying the wrong things here. I don't think I am. Need to recompile or something? I'm not sure. I think what might be happening... This is how we run xget text. If I just cut out all the keywords, for example, let me try this. Yeah, does this build? Maybe it... I don't know, maybe it doesn't work that way. Okay, no, that definitely... The change definitely did something, because now we have a large loading bar, as it probably renders a diff of me deleting every single line. I'm guessing that's what just happened. Let's just look at the file. Yeah. So every file, or every single line turned into this no longer exists. So they're all commented out now. And that's why this is taking forever, is because it's trying to render that. Okay, so then I can definitely modify this. But I cannot seem to modify it to change the width. And yet if I do xget text width -- width equals number, set output page width. Yeah, it exists in this version. It's not doing anything. Or maybe you can't set the width that low. Maybe like 40 would do something. I don't know what's going on. This is 55 characters. Yeah, I have no idea what's happening. Maybe what it's trying to do is it's trying to match what the message ID was. So I need to like generate something anew. Yeah, I don't know what to do for this. I'll look at this tomorrow when I can actually modify Weblate too. Translations. Figure out how to use -- no wrap from xget text. And where's the one for Weblate? PO line wrap. Probably shouldn't close that page. So that everything renders on one line. I think I may need to set this in Weblate, export everything, and then run xget text. but I should be able to test that ahead of time. Yeah, I should be able to test that ahead of time. Cruising right along. Well, the controller stuff's kind of done. Not entirely, but or like mostly done. And then I wanted to do something. I don't remember what prompted this. But yeah, I'm running into a small issue here. We could just ignore the small issue for now. Yeah, we probably just should. I don't want to hold this up. So let's delete these things and just regenerate everything. And then we're going to have the incorrect message order, which we'll go fix. So yeah, this changes this fuzzy C# format. In which case we go back to our readme thing and just replace these strings, right? It's already there, in fact. So I just click this and click this and we're good. And now the only changes are going to be the formatting changes, right? Which is unfortunate there are any of these, but what are you going to do? Yeah. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Poisoning the diff for nothing. So stupid. The reason why this is bad is because these files are so large. They're like 8,000 lines that it's hard to go through every single instance. And yet some of these are actual changes. Like in French, we should see... That's weird. The format is... Oh man, all right, well, whatever. I guess leave that as it was. No, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of obnoxious though. Okay, never mind. There were no real changes here either. It's just line number changes. Okay, those are the real ones. Yeah. Everything else really shouldn't change. All right, well, I'm going to check this in. Yeah. Generate translations. This gets rid of spirit snake bite. It looks good to me. This gets rid of spirit snake bite. Unfortunately, it also changes a bunch of line breaks due to differences in xgettext and weblate. Yeah, what are you going to do? All right, so commit that and then push that. And then I should hear my fan spin up on my mini PC. Yep, there it goes. If we look at BTOP, we should see that. Yep. So CPU is being used. It's pulling in new changes. And now it's calming down. All right, so it should be on weblate. So now if we look at English and we search for snake bite, I want to see what happens. Yeah, it's gone. So it's still in the file. Like if we look at the French file, it's at the bottom. It's just commented out because it's no longer needed. And I guess nothing ever deletes it. What's the mini PC doing? It's running weblate, this translation tool. And it's kind of funny, but every time something happens in the translation tool, I can hear the CPU spin up. Like if it runs a database query, well, if it writes to the database or if it, yeah, pretty much if it writes to the database. Reading from the database doesn't seem to cause any CPU spinning up. Now, I bet if 100 people open this web page, I'd hear it, but the little guy's just so happy to have work. That he is. Yeah. All right. Well, that took me longer than I thought. And now it's lunchtime. So here's the plan. Oh, I should check this in too, right? Update translations and readme. Here is the plan for post-lunch. It's going to be merge PRs. We have 2 of them. There's one for customizing keybinds and another for adding new instances. These are what Darkstorm did, and they're all just brand new instance locations, which look really good. I like them. Yeah. So we're going to do that. And then I don't know what we'll do with any other time that we have. So it's going to be merge PRs. And I don't know, that's probably it. Yeah, we'll figure something else out. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. I'll be back in about an hour, I think. It's currently about noon. Yeah, I'll try to be back by about 1 p.m. I'm going to go get lunch. Thank you all. I hope you had a good day. I will see you in a bit. Goodbye.